Boom.
Like, by the way, yesterday I heard you talking about the Rumble matchup, and yesterday, I mean, 2 days ago, I like kind of first time Rumbling Jayce to Rumble. It was not a fun game.
It's not easy, but it is winning for you.
Yeah, I noticed, but like the second I made like one mistake,
Yeah, but that's Rumble.
I just got one shot, you know?
Yeah, that's
Like
Rumble.
on the whole game.
I'm surprised you played Phase Rush. I don't think you should play Phase Rush in this matchup as Rumble. It doesn't really work. But
Yeah, I
it's not
think
the
so too.
worst. Anyway, something that I like to focus on is like make sure when you're coming out of base, you make a decision on whether you go to Pixel. So the idea being like if you want to participate in the game and have influence in the game, you can either come off base and go to Pixels, right? And it doesn't have to be like Pixel, right? If you're falling behind, this can also be where you run, right? This can be where you run. This can be where you run. But the idea is that you make yourself accessible, right? So you do this and then you see what happens, right? You can also do this and see what happens. You can also do this and see what happens. But the point is having the habit of doing that instead of just, AFK running to lane. A lot of times there will be opportunities that you're missing if you just AFK run to lane. This is applicable for everyone, so everyone watching the stream, this is applicable for all Itos, especially when you play champs like Jayce Fiora, because getting free kills like this is really, really good, right? These champions are really insane, especially even early game, right? If you have a little timer, level 7 for example, and you walk up here, you walk to any of these bushes, mostly this one I would recommend if it's early game, you walk over here and you do this path rather than just straight to lane. And you'll notice that a lot of times, as you're walking up the lane, sometimes there's a mid gank you can react to, or you can go this way or this way, and find a way to influence the game.
Yeah, I agree.
So it's just a nice habit to have. Obviously, running straight to your lane can be relevant if you know you don't want to fight. So let's say you're behind, you need to catch up, you want to run straight to lane because you want to use your time to farm the golems instead, for example, or farm the grump instead, whilst you're waiting for your wave to come back to you. So it's something to note. Just keep in mind, it's an option I want people to have, and it's something that I want you to think about. Because a lot of people
It's
will,
a nice habit, right?
like even when they're winning, they'll autopilot down to bot, and they realize as they're bot, wait, I can't push. And they also realize, oh damn, in order to connect, I have to go all the way around. Because even though the enemy top laner might be weaker, because they actually have the habit of, let me fix this. They have the habit of going through mid, and you have the habit of going straight bot. What ends up happening is, because they have an extra man on the mid wave, and you don't know that, either your team will pick a bad fight and you're stuck here, right? So you end up in an outnumbered situation. Or, he'll take all the vision here, right? They just walk in, take all the vision, and then you're here. And you can either run for your life and maybe live, or die, because they have one more member, so the mid prio is going to be theirs. Now, this is mostly for competitive. In solo queue, you don't really die. People aren't smart enough on EU or NNA to take this wave and go kill you. Though if you go play in Korea and China, you'll notice immediately these people will insta-push mid and boom, you're dead. This is how it kind of works. This is why Asian servers fight a shit ton in this area. Like I would say, this is why in this area there's so much action if you watch any Korean solo queue or Chinese solo queue. Because it's like every single mid wave that shows up, if you're capable of fighting, you should be fighting. That's kind of the idea. Either way, what I wanted to add to you is...
Hey, by the way, I remember when I was playing like in Korea, I had like to do this shifting of gameplay.
Yes.
Because like, if I wouldn't fight like every wave, I would just lose the game 15.
Yes, they will.
Especially with Korean mental, they will just not play the game.
If you don't contest mid waves, they consider you to be bad at the game and they will just grief you and FF. That's unfortunately the way it goes. Even when you're playing a split pusher, you're expected to move here, and then if the enemy team doesn't contest, they will respect the fact that you have a timer to go into bot, to push bot, and then once you've pushed bot, you're also expected to come back. So, this is actually how League of Legends is played for the most part. It's like a very basic thing, but still, it's not always the way you play, right? If you have Fiora or Jax that can just eat every tower, then maybe you should just let him do that. But the mentality is to group whenever you can. Either way, what is relevant for every server is that you walk up here mid and you just, you see what happens. Especially if there's a mid wave, right? If there's a mid wave in front of you, good chance something will happen around mid. As the mid wave is coming out, right? You hover. You can even press S here. You can press S here. Just double check. All right, nothing happens. I'm out. Right? Just a good habit to have. Obviously, if you're a champion that can force really hard, you can even do this, look around. Maybe sometimes you can do this. Sweeper is really good. All really, really relevant stuff. Something that I talked about with someone that I also found pretty interesting is, let's say the enemy team has vision here, vision here. They have a very standard setup of pinks, right? They're trying to hold the game. They're kind of getting screwed. They're trying to make sure they don't lose. They have vision here, here, here. They have vision on the mid wave, right? So let's say a little bit deeper than that. Let's say they have vision over here as well, right? They see stuff happening on the mid wave. They have vision of all their entrances. They have vision here in the entrance, right? Usually wolves, but sure. And they have vision here. How do you make a play knowing that they have this much vision and they're playing safe? What do you need to do to unlock that? Assume that the tier 1s are dead.
I need to push side somehow?
Yep, pretty much. The only way in order to get into the enemy team is, when these towers are dead, is to go around like this. Or, in this case, go around like this, right? So this is something to think about. This is one of the reasons why pushing waves can be really good, because after you're done pushing the wave, you go in fog of war, or you come from the bushes, for example, and then you hug the wall, and boom, you attack. So, small thing, but again, why sideline push matters so much in competitive play, because often it can unlock spots where there's no vision, because most times, if it's a very stale game, there will be vision right about everywhere here. So either you can jump this wall and burger flip it, or you can go here and jump this wall and burger flip it, but not many people do that.
Something I would do.
Yeah, I mean, you could. It can be very creative. Can also be very, alternative creativity. Yeah, alternative creativity, right? Could also be griefing. You don't know, because if people are trapping you here, it's rough. Either way, just something to think about. If you can just push this wave, really good. A really good habit to have when you push a side wave. Always hover away from what you want to do. Okay, so if you want to keep pushing, if you kill a minion wave, there's like a 0.5 seconds of vision that still remains after you kill the minion wave. It's very short, but you can tell on the minimap when someone's pushing their wave and they're moving their character up. A lot of people will assume that you will keep going. So just a reminder, it's really good that you have the habit of, push the wave, hover down, like as if you're trying to run. It will just help you. People will second guess, and that's much better than knowing for a fact what you want to do, right?
Yeah.
Same thing with vision. So one of the reasons why, if you're in the Baron pit, when you hit a blue orb, there's 1 second of vision. When you hit a pink ward and kill a pink ward, I believe there's about 3 seconds. It's pretty long. 3 seconds of vision. When you hit a pink in the pit, I think, not a pink, a normal ward. I think it's pretty long. It's like 3 seconds, 2 seconds. That's why when you have a pink on Nash and you hit a ward in the back of the pit and kill it, you give them more vision than if you just ignore it. Obviously, a pink sees you anyway, so you want to kill a pink. Obviously. That's why I misspoke, sorry. But a normal ward, if there's in the pit, same with blue orb, you don't hit them. Hitting these wards only gives more information. Because of the way the vision works and the way the vision disappears. So, think about that. Alright, and that's about it. Another reason why walking through mid like this is really good, especially if you have 2 pinks. 1 pink is okay too, but the idea of it is that you can walk here, and you can leave your pink here, you can leave your pink here. If you're contesting Nash even as a top laner, what I used to do on Fnatic was I would walk all the way, I'd contest the mid wave, right? After I get mid prio, I would be the one that puts my pink in the Baron pit. So that was something we did. This was Reckless's pink, this was my pink, and then this is jungle support pink. And then this way you have like a really solid line. Vision in the topside river, that's hard to deal with. That's something that we used to do. We had that rule, and it just worked really well. And then this is mid pink usually, or this, depending on how far you can push. And then that way you had full control over the vision here, right? This would be in the pit, this would be in the pixel, and this would be here. So the only things you need to sweep are here. So sometimes there's sneaky wards here, right? And then the only thing you need to ward is the lane mid. So you'd sweep like this. And sometimes teams with pink here too, eventually. Mickey X split this pink a lot in G2. But anyway, just small things that you can think about as a top laner, how you can contribute to your vision for your team. That's what I like to do. Next thing, as a split pusher, so you play Jayce Fiora and you realize, okay, nothing's going to happen mid, I'm going to go straight into bot, right? First thing to do, establish where you want your vision. right? So the most important places where you have to kind of check as you're coming out, right? So as you're opening out on the map bot lane, right? Either to this lane or let's say you go straight bot and you're just like, nothing is going to happen mid. Even if it does, I have TP. Right, so you tell your team, like, this is the ward here, for example, in the middle of the lane. You're just like, all right, I'm just going to walk bot. This is a fight, I'll TP. Right? So you walk out bot lane, and the first few bushes you need to check. Obviously, this one is important, this one is important, this one. And this is what a lot of people skip when they just run down the side lane and they end up getting caught. But it's actually important to take a route that you check every bush, right? You want to make sure you check every bush. So what I like to do first is, a very classic thing to do, but it's to walk like this and then ward. Obviously, or like face check it, but face check it in a way that it's like best to your advantage, right? So sometimes, you'd rather walk like this and not face check at all, right? So let's say you're playing Fiora. If you're playing Fiora, you don't want to face check people because then you can't reliably riposte, right? If I'm waiting in the tip of this bush and you face check melee range of me, I don't think you can react.
No, I can't.
Unless you're scripting or you have a ward, right? So, or a prediction, right? So if you want to, maybe, you're god and you just walk in and just riposte, and then the guy will be like, what the fuck just happened, right? Also, actually, this bush can also be relevant, but less relevant. Only Baus uses in this bush. And since Baus does it, like, everyone thinks about it, so at least on you. People think about this bush too much now. I still think about this bush, and I haven't played against Baus in like a year and a half. But yeah, sometimes it's better to hug the wall like this and then do this, right? Because it's better not to face check than it is to face check someone. And if they go on you, you can actually outplay if there's enough space, right? So Fiora, for example, is a really good example of this, where if there's enough space between you and Fiora can see you and react to what you're doing, it's better for her than to just walk into the bush and face check you. So what she would do is something like this, and then she would do like this, and then she wards the bush, right? So there's a point where she's going to get really close to the bush, but that's just where you're going to have to practice and make sure you can react, right? The reason why you take this path is because you're basically saying, if they're behind me, right, they're going to have to show themselves, and this will allow me to outplay them. Does that make sense?
It does.
Because the thing about League is, at least most champions, they don't teleport on your face and one-shot you. They don't have a laser or a shotgun, Graves is a shotgun, but he doesn't teleport you and one-shot you unless he's really fed. And a lot of people forget this, is getting ganked by a jungler doesn't mean that you just die. There's still counterplay, and using the counterplay, especially as champions like Fiora and Camille, is one of the reasons why Asia has really good success playing these champions, because they're very, very good at this, right? Same with Gnar, same with Jax. They will actually make enemy teams sweat for ganking and killing you, right? So you can maybe chunk the enemy jungler, you can chunk the enemy top laner, and then when it comes to the map, yeah, you gave up 300 gold, or if you're rich, maybe more than that if you have a shutdown. But in terms of actual map pressure, if you take 70% of the jungler's health and like 50 of the enemy top laner, let's say you're very strong in the game, then they can't actually progress the game all that well. It's just a setback for you, if anything. So again, I recommend this path. Again, it all depends on how much information you have and how scared you are. But this path is a really good way when you're playing champs like Jayce and Fiora, where you just want to make sure you don't face check and die, right? And then once you actually have the vision or the information, let's say the enemy top jungle shows here, having the habit of using your blue orb and using your pink ward is really good. You can pink here, you can pink here, all good. Another way to retake is you do this, you check this bush, and once you've checked this bush, right, either with shock blast or maybe you chameleon on this wall and see that the indicator doesn't say that there's anyone here. You check this bush and then you walk over the wall here to pink, right? Boom, done. And of course, you blue orb here if you're behind. Blue orb in this bush is really good. Pink here, or the other way around. If you go through mid, pink here, blue orb here. You go ahead, catch the wave bot safely. Don't get too close to these bushes. Catch the wave bot somewhere here, or here, and you're going to be relatively safe because you have some vision here and some vision here, right? If you're the guy pressuring, you go here, pink ward here. This is why two pinks are useful, because after you get the control, you push the bot wave, Usually it would be pink ward here, and then I would usually recommend to blue orb this one. You'll have the blue orb towards either side of bushes, right? So just put your blue orb more like towards bot side of the bush, for example, because then you have a chance of spotting people that's trapping in here. It's not perfect, but it's what you have to deal with. Lane ganks are a thing, so be mindful. And then obviously you can also use pinks in order to bush to control these bushes, because I actually think these bushes are the best way in order to come back if you don't have any priority. So if the enemy jungler, for example, enemy jungle top is obviously they're losing the game, they can't contest mid prio, a lot of good jungle top liners will look for this, right? They will look for a lane gank on you or similar. Alternatively, they will have maybe a pink ward in the middle here, in the middle bush, and then they will just call in their mid lane TP. So they'll proactively go on you, right? Like immediately start the fight, and then TP either on the wave or on the pink ward behind you, like here, or maybe even here if you're not careful, right? Make sense?
Yeah.
These are some ways to attack the enemy team, or you're like basically defend yourself against potential plays when you're trying to split push on these champions. All right, let me open up one of your VODs. Do you want to check the Rumble game, or what game do you want to watch?
I can check another game.
Okay. Which one?
I feel like the Rumble game was just, the
disaster. Okay.
No,
well,
not a disaster, but the game of the day that you should not play.
Yeah, makes sense. No, let's start with this one. It seems like this was the most competitive game, at least, and you still smashed your opponent, so that's really good. The other two, I feel like you're playing really well, but also enemy team is getting absolutely murdered, so that always helps.
I mean, I think basically that one, they were a disaster, and then I just play save the war game until I could play again.
Makes sense, yeah.
One of those.
No, that makes sense. Alright, so we're playing against Jayce. Let me turn down this volume a little bit. It is loud as hell for me. There we go. So we're playing against Jayce, playing Conqueror. It is an option. You can also play a phase rush if you prefer that, but if you play it well, you can always QE the guy, knock him back like we mentioned. Let's just go over briefly what's going on. So he has no flash from level 1. That always helps.
There was some action, I think, level 1.
Yeah. When there's the rat in game, there's always something going on. I like it here, Nice, I like it. Oh. I've been there. Not bad. Okay, not bad, not bad. I like the way you were laning. Obviously the gank was a bit rough, but that happens. Okay. Overcommitted a little bit there, makes sense. Alright, 3-0 Jayce. How do we come back? What are we looking for? Level 6 to 5? Yeah, it is painful. We've all been here.
I mean, it's just max range stock blast. And
yeah,
pay for the best.
Oh no, I agree.
I mean, good thing is I actually got into the mindset of trying to not lose it completely,
Yeah. And especially when your bot side is doing this well, it's not on you. It's for you. It's basically at this point you're hoping for Jayce to make a mistake like that in order to come back. That's what a lot of people misunderstand. Just because you're losing lane right now doesn't mean that there won't be a chance for you to come back. It's just you have to wait for the right opportunity, and that's usually, well, them griefing, not the other way around. You can't force anything anymore. You know what I mean? There's no way for you to get a good situation from forcing something because you're too weak to. So all you can do is pray and wait. And the best thing you can do in this situation is just pick a time where you feel like it's going to be your best chance. So for example, let's say you didn't get this gank. You could say right now, when you're level 7, and you have serrated Dirk to before he has Sunder, this might be your best time to start fighting aggressively and create an opportunity for your jungler to attack or your mid laner to attack. Or you can just keep farming and wait until Eclipse. But what matters is that you have an idea in your mind of when you're going to fight. So for example, if you say I need 2 items this game in order to fight, maybe that's unrealistic, but it's better than having no goal at all in what you're waiting for in the game, right? So I'm someone that usually, for example, just before the opponent hits Mythic is when I will pick a fight, right? So right now, if you look at terms of combat, let's say you sold these biscuits, right? Because I think you should, and you had another longsword, then let's say you didn't get that kill and you had this much, right? You'd pretty much have the same base, right? You got 600 gold, I think. Let's say you had this base and he has this base. Given the way your champions interact, maybe this is your best timing. Start pushing for something. And you're not trying to solo, you're trying to solo kill him if you can. But you're more trying to, exchange ults, exchange flashes, exchange cooldowns, right? So in this case, he doesn't have flash. So what you're doing is trying to get him low enough and also attack the fact that maybe if he has no ult, it becomes more easy for Talon to come and help you. Or more easy for Annie to help you. And that's kind of the idea. You'll just force his ult by playing relatively aggressive. and then you'll base TP, and then from the point where he used his ult, you'll have like 90 or so seconds depending on the champion, right? Because he's going to blow ult, and then, well, he has 80 second CD, so he's going to blow ult, and then you have, you know, let's say take 15 seconds to base TP, and then in this case you would have 1 whole minute where he has no ult and you're fresh, and this is your best chance to fight. Doesn't always work.
Yeah, makes sense.
But it's something that I want you to think about when you're playing these matchups where you just end up losing, right? You can't always force, but picking a timing where you force really hard and then base TP to make the best opportunity can be good. So in this case, for example, you notice how he's really hard to gank because he has ult. If you force his ult 1v1, maybe that would be better. Oh, that was close. Nico jungle. I feel like this champion is really strong in lane, but everyone plays her jungle right now because it's like flavor of the month. But I feel like she's actually quite strong in lane. I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like she has like very good damage. Like base damage.
She's a really good lane bully, I think.
Feel like I'm getting one shot when she has like 100 AP. It's actually insane.
One good EQ and you're just dead. Oh nice, he overcommitted and you killed him. Lovely. Alright, I like it. So I'm just gonna double check how you move out from the map, and then we'll check some VODs to try and create a consistent game plan of what we want to do on Jayce and Fiora. Do you have any Jayce Fiora players that you watch that you like?
I was watching a lot of TF Blade and Fuji King.
Okay.
But I kind of stopped because I feel like, especially the Chinese players, they're not playing the plan. I mean, the strategy part really.
Okay, yeah, I understand. I forget what his name is. There's a guy. Is his name 14 Fiora? Is that the guy?
Yeah, it is.
This guy, I think, is really well known for being very measured. So I think I'll use a VOD with that guy.
I mean, it just depends on the mood. It's just the typical Fiora.
No, of course, yeah. I'm the same, of course, you know. I joke about this, but it's true, you know. Sometimes game 15, game 16, you don't have the patience like you used to, you know. You don't wait for your jungler, you just say, fuck it. If he doesn't come top, report him. Alright, lots of fighting.
Yeah, makes sense.
Well, it is what it is, you know. It's not a good thing, but there it is. Nice, well played. Alright, so now I want to see you influence, right? Okay, you do one more wave. I don't disagree with it, but I want to see you influence the game, you know? The reason why I don't like, technically I don't like doing this wave is because if you look what your team is doing, you should base and be ready for this, you know?
I could have been already...
Yeah, you should base and be ready with TP. Yeah, you can just base, walk out topside, you know, do raptors, and then come back and take this wave if you need to. You're also stronger than him now, so you also don't need to feel like... This is a lot of thing, like, people that come back don't have this mindset. But you see how you're up 1 gigahold?
Yeah, I mean, I have 2 items, like he doesn't even have Bork, and even if he has Bork, I can pretty much one-shot him.
Right, so a lot of people like stay in this mindset to be greedy and try to grab every single wave they can, because they're like, oh, this is what I need to do, instead of looking at how I influence the game, because you're 3 and 4, but really you're stronger than him, right? You're level up at this point. Let me go back to when he didn't die. You're level up / especially after solo killing him, you're level up, right? Because you get a lot of solo XP. But you see how you're ahead in XP, ahead in gold before you even kill him.
Yeah.
So try to enter the mindset of like start playing the game and influencing the game already, based on how strong you are. Now your team is doing really well, so obviously that helps. But even more reason to participate in the game with them. You know what I mean? Because if your team is strong, they're going to want to play the game. So right now it's a really good habit to just take what you need to start pressuring the map, right? So in this case, you took 1 wave, took 2 wave, took his life, which is basically 2 waves, right? So he took 3 waves. It was a chunky cannon wave. And then right now, if you're ready to base TP and play on this ult cooldown, that would be really nice for Twitch, right? So if you're thinking about Twitch right now, if you base right now, Twitch is gonna want to kill people on his R cooldown, right?
Yeah.
Like if you're playing Twitch right now, what you're thinking is like, alright, where do I go to kill people? Because I have alternate, and I'm gonna kill everything on my screen right now if I press R. That's why, if you can start entering his thought process, that's really good. Same with Talon, right? This guy's fed his health, 3 items. He has RCD. He's thinking, who can I go kill? So he's dragging these camps down because he's dragging in to start killing people. So as they're doing Drake, for example, if you're recalling and walking out, that can also be topside and then use TP to group with your team, which is why TP is great. But just think about it, you know, this is one of the reasons why when I used to play solo queue, I always had a very good experience playing with like Rat IRL and stuff like this. Because even though, you know, toxicity may have been an issue, they were really good at making consistent plays. And they were really, really smart about attacking the map, especially Rat, when he plays, well, either the Rat or his mages. So basically, you just look at the little green thingy, right? You look at the green thingy, it says, it lights up. good to participate, right? So see, taking camp, reset, really good. Make yourself available. See, I like this a lot more already. You realize there's nothing going on mid, let's attack side. Perfect, right? So here, we finish pushing, move into mid, very, very good, right? And see, so here, it ended up being like, you know, it ended up not being much, but you were here, you know what I mean? It's better to be here and that ends up being not much than not being here and team ends up feeding, you know? Maybe next time it's not Veigar, but it's Orianna. Maybe next time you hit the Shock Blast and you can kill them. You being here made a difference. Well, it could have. Very nice. Base, walk out mid, really good. We're here for Jack's attack. Even though we're through mid, we still make it. Again, kind of the idea. And fundamentally, the idea behind going through mid is, just for the people wondering, the idea of going through mid lane is basically Talon's going through top right. So let's assume that the enemy team is not behind in tempo, right? We're both even in tempo. But even if you're ahead in tempo, the idea is when they all go mid lane, right? Everyone goes mid. So in this case, you guys are all going mid, right? The idea is, let's say this Veigar goes bot to push. Let's say he touches this wave. Jayce and the homies are just going to go push, and then they're going to go behind him. Because the enemy team can't stop you from doing that, because they don't have enough manpower, because one of their men is stuck being bot. That's the idea of going through mid, and this is why, you know, you have to go through mid, is the idea. Now, you can also go through top lane and catch mid waves, so what you can do is you can send 3 people topside, right? This is popular in some competitive teams. They send 3 people top, 1 guy bot with TP, and then a champion like Kai'Sa or Jhin in the mid lane, where he will just come around and he will just support the team with W, like obviously Kai'Sa can ult in, but Jhin can W, R, etc., right? So that's another idea, another strategy that teams use in order to contest if they don't feel like contesting through mid is possible. And then with 3 people top, if the enemy mid laner or top laner plays poorly on the side wave, they can kill him and then regain control that way. But it's just something to think about in this case. You know, you can skip the wave and go and kill people, which is exactly what you do. And this is, again, the idea of going through mid. Enemy team's behind in tempo, so that's one thing. But even if you're behind in tempo, if you have more men around mid, you can just take the wave in their face and then just walk into their vision, right? So in this case, let's say blue team wasn't getting absolutely murdered, or even if they are, really. Right now, Veigar is here with the team. They can just take this wave, bulldoze into your vision, and then cross into bot side, right? So they can just do this, boom. And if Twitch opens up and kills you all, well, at least you have more people than they do whilst he does it. You know, maybe at this point, you're all going to die, but Twitch is going to open up and kill your whole team at some point, so you may as well do it when you have 4 people versus 3 than 5v5 or equal numbers, right? Or worse yet, getting outnumbered by him. So something to think about. That's the main idea behind going through mid. A little fight here, but I like what I see. Awesome. So, I'm going to do a Fiora VOD first, and then we can do a Jayce VOD after. So 14 Fiora. Let's see if I can find a VOD. And again, I just do a little YouTube search. It doesn't have to be a recent VOD. The only thing that you're trying to understand is, like, has the champion changed? Is the perception of the champion different? You know, whether you play Conqueror or stuff like that is up to you. Obviously against Darius we're going to play Ignite. Maybe it's better to look at a different VOD, see if he plays with TP. I mean, all of these solo queue players like playing Ignite. I mean, he's playing against Ghost matchups, and usually for Fiora you would want to play matchups where you...
and you will take Ignite here.
You have to, kinda, yeah. Alright, 8 days ago, very good. He's still playing Ignite, fuck. The thing is, Ignite kind of changes your perspective.
Any votes what he's gonna play TP?
Yeah, not in fighter matchups, I guess, because people really value having Ignite. But the biggest, like the most important thing when you play carry champions is that you plan out your first 4 waves. I usually say 4 instead of 3 because not always are you gonna do the same thing. Having a mix-up is really important. So sometimes you want to be able to push 2 waves into 4-wave crash. Sometimes you want to try to, you know, do a cheater. It's important that you're open-minded about it. All right.
Yeah.
Malphite kind of griefs it, but honestly, Lee Sin counter griefs, so it's fine. That's usually not worth it for you as a top laner because you can't crash this wave before you base. So you will struggle to crash this wave. In most cases, now Fiora obviously playing against the tank, it's much easier. But something to think about, right? This is what I mean. A lot of people this is what I mean when Echo doesn't teleport into your lane and kill you. You know, he doesn't just show up, pull out his fucking Glock and shoot you in the head, you know? actually has to try and kill you. There's gameplay to be had in this situation, and even without riposte, as you'll see, he queues forward, and still there's counterplay, right?
I mean, it's not chess, you know. It's why I
Well,
like this game.
yeah, I'm just saying, even if Echo procs the...
Imagine if the queen has counterplay to... I mean, the rook has counterplay to kill the queen, you know?
Yeah, that's the way it works. It depends what squares you're on. It's a good way of looking at it. I don't know, is my VOD just lagging or what's going on? There we go, thank you. There's always a way to outplay, or buy more time, or to chunk someone and do more damage. And as I mentioned, even though it was still possible eventually, the wave is still bad, right? So it's just something to think about. This is the main idea of like that Lee Sin gank trading 1-for-1. He's going to get gold to spend on either cloth armor, on a ruby crystal, on a Doran's ring, whatever it is, and then TP back. And it's going to be harder for you to crash the wave because you've obviously been fighting a lot because, well, that's why it was gankable / diveable in the first place. So something to think about. Now, for me, when you're talking about Fiora, you either go this Gore Drinker build for scaling or you go Divine Slenderer for early game spike. So it's up to you what you prefer.
I mean, I would rather go Hydra than Gore Drinker. I think the Gore is in a bad state on the champion.
Okay, no, that's okay. Then you'll be buying Sunderer most likely, but I think both are still good. I've seen Fiora players go both. I think Sunderer just gives her the most power, especially if you're still laning 1v1. I feel like Sunderer is really good at. Like, it's really miserable to lane against Fiora with Sunderer, really. Like, it feels really bad. If you're like slightly behind and you have to deal with that.
I agree.
You don't
I mean,
have
maybe
Mythic.
not in the Jax matchup, but like every other matchup is just... Also, it's just noob gameplay, right? It's just press Q.
No, I agree. Doesn't take much. Let's see what he does here. Oh, he just queues into a Malphite. Well, awkward.
The classic.
Well played by Malphite. So let's go over the first few levels here to see what exactly he's trying to do. I think it just makes sense, right? He's just trying to poke Malphite, slowly whittle him down. One thing I will note is that he doesn't actually care too much about push, right? So he doesn't play with grasp, so he doesn't actually mind if the wave is pushing towards him. See, he actually hits level 2 second. And then he's looking for a fight in the middle of the lane like this, so that you can actually all-in him. So the idea is that you hit level 2 and then you fight really hard with Conqueror stacked. Now, whether that's good or not, I mean, up to you. It will create a lot of volatility because you're going to be getting hit by the creeps meanwhile you're doing this. But I think the game plan here is... The game plan is very much for him to just let the wave come to him. Right? He's letting Malphite push, and then he's looking for an all-in, because if he's the one pushing, Malphite will have his character further down, right? So in this case, Malphite is all the way up here, farming over here. Whereas if he's pushing, then Malphite can maybe comfortably stay in this area or even further back without having to take too much risk, because he can also just say, okay, the wave's coming back to me, I'm going to take no risk. So it makes sense, because also they started an enemy topside jungle, right? So you see Lee Sin, we're trading sides in this situation, because Lee Sin hasn't done any of his camps. Yeah, so in this case, it makes a lot of sense. It creates an opportunity for Lee Sin to come top lane because the wave is coming to Fiora. So I'm a bit curious. Oh, this is why. So the reason why it actually pushes, because normally Malphite would be really fucked here. But the reason I push is because Lee Sin obviously not only drags the wave, it also eased the whole minion wave, all the range creeps.
Oh, nice jungler. I mean, usually I don't like to trade like that much HP, because I feel like if enemy junglers then just decide that I won't play, then my game is just exploding. I don't like this.
No, and that's okay. In this case, obviously his jungler's on his side, but I don't disagree with you, right? So all I will say is there's some games where this is the right way to play, because you have your jungler come to you and you want to fight a 2v2, for example, right? So let's say you have a jungler like, Viego or Viego is the first one that comes to mind, but Nidalee is a good example too. Nidalee is a good example that wants to walk into enemy jungle top side. You guys have information that he started bottom side. Especially when you're playing Fiora, what you can also do, the classic, people started doing this, but just walk in and get information at level 1, because your champ's really strong level 1. So if you can get that information, that can also help a champ like Nidalee or something, help you out. I will say if someone does 3 topside camps into top gank, that can also be really bad for them if you dodge the gank. So keep that in mind. That's another way. Yeah, you might not be able to play the game, but trust me, enemy jungle can't play either. So something you can think about.
Yeah.
All right. Solid stuff. He TP's back, buys pickaxe, and then kind of just classic stuff. Nothing special. Takes another recall. Simple stuff. not much more to add, right? Just what I want you to be thinking about basically is put yourself in a position where you can react to what happens. I think a lot of people, especially when they start, same for me, when I autopilot, I have the same issue. It's like I stop thinking about how I can react to things if things happen in my lane or around my lane, and I stop making a list, you know? So the best way I can describe this, you make 2 lists. Okay? Do and don't.
Oh, I know what you mean now.
So, for example, you know, river fight, that might be a don't. You know, like, I will just not fight. If my team wants to go die in the river, they can go die in the river. Do lane, right? Lane fight. Lane 2v2, right? River 3v3, let's make it more specific, might be a don't, because maybe you have, you know, Kai'Sa mid against Talon, you know, and it's like, well, right now, a big don't, you know? A 3v3 in the river is a big don't. Most of the time. Because Malphite, obviously, stronger than Fiora in a river fight. These guys, I'd say it's like execution. Maybe Lee is stronger, sure, but then this guy's way stronger. So, because stronger top, stronger mid, and Echo can play the game if he has stronger lanes, definitely a don't to fight in river. And I feel like a lot of people, when they're playing in their autopilot, they're not going to make this, like, they're not going to specify, you know what I mean? They're going to specify, like, oh, I should not do this. I should avoid this. And you're not going to ping your teammates before they walk in river, you know? So it's like here, like, let's say your jungler wants to contest top grab and you're equal in prio. It's really important that you start pinging him ahead of time and let him know, like, we shouldn't be doing this. Careful, Malphite's stronger than me, right? 2v2 in lane, however, you know, if you can bait Malphite into you, maybe you can win a 2v2, right? So that might still be good. Same thing here, like, don't might be Herald, right? Instead, maybe you want to take your free base, right? You know, just base, free recall, you know? So this is something that happens a lot when the enemy team, when your team contests Herald. I've talked about this before with you, I think, but when your team contests Herald, like, so let's say Lee Sin is contesting here, and Kai'Sa's hovering. Even if Talon and Echo are moving and Malphite are moving, as long as your mid-jungle doesn't die, just the fact that your mid-jungle is staring at the enemy team will make Malphite want to move, just in case. And as Malphite moves, what you do is blow up the wave and go recall. So this works really, really well in champions like Gangplank. They love to be able to do this, just blow up the wave and recall. Fiora can also be one of those, where it's just like, you're scaling, you want to get to a certain point where you spike, right? Anyway, this is something I recommend for you when you're playing a champion that you're super comfortable on, is that you still set standards of like, yeah, I don't want to move there. Same with wave management, right? It's like making sure that you don't do something that's bad for your champion with your wave management can also be a way of making sure that doesn't happen. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Awesome. I don't know why it freezes, but I'm guessing that this tower dive didn't work. Oh no, it did work. Nice. There's running from Talon. Oh, Talon killed them. So, especially when you're playing Fiora and Jax. Jax not so much as Fiora. Jax is much better 2v2 and 3v3. But for Fiora specifically, a lot of the times you want... This is much better for you than this. So making sure you isolate your opponent and you don't take every single fight the opponent's looking for is really important. Because you end up in a situation where even 2v2 honestly is worse than 1v1 for you. Especially if you're playing matchups against tanks. The idea really is that you're trying to force 1v1 situations rather than look for 2v2s and 3v3s. Now obviously you can 2v2 and 3v3 if you're really strong and you're very confident in your spike, etc. But just think about this. This can mean that maybe instead of pressuring on a wave, you're just going to recall and play it safe, you know? It's like, oh, well, you know what? Enemy jungler's on my side. Instead of taking a risk, I'm going to just recall, right? So think about that as well. All right?
Yeah.
Awesome. In terms of actual gameplay, I mean, and we can look at his mechanics, but I'm fairly sure there's nothing new that's happening here for you. You have played the champion for many, many years.
Yeah, indeed.
And he's getting Malphited on. Little magic resistance? Wow, he doesn't buy MR here. Greedy as hell. I respect it. This thing's really greedy. We noticed, like, even though he is dying, and you know, here he played safe and died, and that feels really bad. Well, he not only lost his tower to Herald, but also, I mean, this is the classic, right? You smash lane, you know, Lee Sin gives you a little bit of help, and then, oh, well, fuck. Get dove, watch your whole tower die. Yeah, watch your whole tower die, and you're just like, smooge. I've been here too many times. I think we all have. Either way, you know, he's still strong in the game. He can still contest 1v1. You notice how Malphite, even though he doesn't have ult, still goes through mid. Just a small thing, I know. But, yeah, they're very, very consistent with this. Awesome. Alright, so I think you can queue up, and what we're going to try and do in the game is basically try and establish how we can create situations where we are focused on creating a 1v1 scenario for you, right? Decision making that's going to help you create this 1v1 scenario, basically avoiding the enemy jungler, and also not relying on our jungler to come and bail us out if we make a mistake. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Yeah,
So,
I just need to do quick warm up because otherwise
of
I will
course, yeah.
just print
Yeah.
it.
No, that's okay. So, we're probably going to play 2 games anyway, so don't worry. There'll be time. So in this case, that can mean, for me at least, my number one advice I have for you is to create scenarios where you really play 1v1. You should establish whether you should short trade and poke only, or you should really commit all in, like really hard trade. The reason being is if your enemy jungler's on your side, right, and you're 1v1 against enemy top laner, if you trade really hard and make this a 1v0 to the point that he can't really help the enemy jungler try to kill you, when the enemy jungler ganks you, that's when it becomes +1, and then it's a 1v1 again. So this is what I used to do when I played Gangplank, for example, in EULCS, way back 2018. That was very much the logic I did. Is level 1 I would fight really hard, like extremely hard, and put him to 1 HP, and then because my champ was way stronger, I'd have like half health left. And then with half health, I could usually survive / outplay most jungle champions. You wouldn't be able to do that against Thingy though. You wouldn't be able to do that against like Camille Jungle, which is why Camille Jungle was our kryptonite.
Oh man.
There was no counterplay. She showed up into your lane, one shot. She was just one shot you, so not much you could do. Either way, that's going to be the end of the VOD. Nothing too special. But focusing on, Fiora Jax, I definitely want to create scenarios where even when your jungler's not on your side or pathing to you or helping you gank, I'll really want to be able to focus on that. I just want to double check some of these games here. Surprised he skills E here. Most Fiora players actually skill W here, but I like E a lot more.
I mean, it's better damage, right?
Yeah, well, he got him killed, so... I feel like if he just hard traded and left, he would have just smashed, but he kept trying to, like, walk into Olaf, even though he didn't realize, I think, that this was Olaf's turn. This was Olaf's opportunity to win, because he's about to hit level 2 there. I feel like he was trying too hard to commit. Like, I feel like right here, auto E, he also failed his cancel, but right there, after this big crit, he just leaves. He's totally fine. Also, don't forget ever to use this if you're going to all-in, which is what he's doing, right? He's all-inning. Always use your potion if you're all-inning, just preemptively. Either way, let's see how he recovers. Because this matchup is, in my opinion, quite rough for Olaf if the Fiora player plays the early game well. But at the same time, if Fiora player messes up, it can get really miserable really fast for Fiora.
Yeah, I agree.
He's just getting owned. Alright. Let's have a look. Feel free to queue up or like warm up, and then you can queue up whatever you feel comfortable with. I'm just going to check out the vaults to see if I see anything particular. But you notice how he's trading really, really aggressively. And this is what I meant by creating this 1v1 scenario against the enemy jungler, because if the enemy top laner can't really follow up or help you, I'm not sure if you've felt this, but I've had a lot of cases where like I'm trying to follow up on my jungler or something, but I'm so low that the only choice I have is to either die 1-for-1, or it's like a total mess, and it's like a whole fucking goose chase trying to kill this Fiora, I've had that happen before, and that is not pleasant either. So that's kind of the scenario you're trying to recreate by trading really hard and chunking your opponent. So again here, when you are behind on these champions, it's really important that you pick and choose a time where you feel like, oh, now I have a chance to win. Does that make sense? Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
So like right now, if he says like pickaxe is my timing to start turning around this matchup when we're pickaxe to pickaxe, because in terms of lane strength, this is really close. The next thing is levels. So for example, he's a level up, right? He's like, let's say he's 0.75 of a level up, right? He's like, not exactly a level, but 0.75 of a level. Then as soon as you hit 7, you start really playing aggressive to squeeze something out, because 7 to 7 is better, because it's equal level, than if you were looking for a fight being a level down. Because 1 level is 600 gold worth of stats, basically. So that's also an idea, is like right now, as you hit level 7, you're going to aggressively look for something. It's something to consider as well. So Olaf uses his W to try and get some platings, and ends up kind of griefing his lane because they have mid prow, and LeBlanc just walks over and kills him. Well, unlucky. All his hard work kind of just gone. Buy items, And again, there's no shame in waiting for an opportunity. You know, a lot of people, you know, they're like, well, we got one solo kill in the lane's over, I won the lane. But that's not really the case in League of Legends, is it? Lane ends when the lane ends, you know? Like, lane ends kind of when the game ends, I feel like. So this is what I meant. You know, Olaf significantly stronger in these skirmishes. You see how this is a 4v4. Spam pinging your team. Please don't fight. Olaf's going to kill everyone. Might be the best thing. Now, I will say, like, you showing up and trying to participate isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's just, you know, something to think about. They end up taking a 3v3 here. I mean, technically it's a 3v2 because Pyke didn't really participate in the fight. But neither did Zilean. So they took a 2v2 in River against Nunu and Olaf, and Nunu and Olaf just kind of won 2v2. Zilean being there was just cosmetic. Yeah, the Zilean ult is nice, but I feel like Olaf would have killed him anyway. Yeah, something to think about. Sometimes making the decision of not fighting is actually correct. And then Olaf does the classic, which is, you know, the worst thing you can do in League of Legends. You manage to get an advantage, and then you, for whatever reason, get compelled to take 17 plates instead of just recalling and winning the game. The worst part is he even has Herald. Why doesn't he just pop it? Like, at least if you're going to commit, pop Herald right now. But he got a double kill. He got one plate already. You know he has Gourd Drinker. And before he actually, you know, uses his money, he's not only in bad conditions, but he didn't spend his money. So now look how much money Fiora and Lee Sin are able to get back from this blunder. You know, because that's really what it is. It's a blunder. They're actually able to get back enough money for Fiora's Mythic to come back online, which is obviously should never have been the case. She should not have been able to get her Mythic item after this recall, but that was the case. And then, you know, look at this fight again. It's just a total mess because Olaf kind of fucked up and didn't recall, because there's a lot of like weird things going on, which should not have been the case. Pretty simple stuff, but really important, you know, especially when you're playing League. This is why I also recommend just play, you know, 3 to 4 games. You know, try to limit it because even though you might not win all of those games, it's just better to limit yourself to play fewer games and be really focused during those games than make mistakes like this. Because Olaf now is actually, you know, he's still up a lot of gold, but instead of being up 2,000 to 3,000 gold, which what he could have been, in reality he's going to be up what, like 1,100, you know, 900. It's still something, but it's just not as much as it could have been. Not to mention experience from trading kills all the time, right? So Fiora goes from being a non-factor in the game to both of you get gold pumped into you, you know? And that's not a good thing. So one thing to note is, like, as a top laner, especially as a top laner, it's really important as a top laner. This is why Baus, everyone hates playing with Baus. So, you know, for the people watching, the reason why people don't like playing with Baus is because what happens is Baus will be level 12 with, let's say, 7,000 gold. And his lane opponent will be level 12 with 6,500 gold, right? So the thing is, he's totally fine with this, right? Like, he's happy with this. Enemy top laner is also really happy with it, right? Sorry, not level 11, level 12 as well. But then everyone else in the game will be like 5k gold. So basically, what ends up happening is that everyone else is really weak compared to the Scion and the enemy top laner, and the game revolves around you two. Like, Baus makes the game revolve around the top laners because they're going to be the most fed on the map, no matter what you do.
Yeah, the classic. Then the boss just gets randomly double kill on bot lane.
Yeah, because he has 7,000 gold, and your bot lane has, like, your AD carry has 1 item. Meanwhile, the Scion has 1.5, 2 items, and then he takes over.
It's so funny.
No,
and
I mean,
actually,
it's hilarious.
The first time I played against it, I did 0-12 because I was like, what the fuck is this guy in every bush?
Yeah. But that's kind of the idea.
Then I got into his head, playing Fiora into Scion. He couldn't Q-spell me. Like, every time he would try to Q-spell me, and I would just hold my parry, and I downloaded him. He got actually much better at it. I played Fiora against him. I remember it because I never played Fiora, but I picked Fiora against him because he was, like, triggering me, and I was playing, like, I was winning lane, but I couldn't win the game, and I was like, fuck this shit, I'm going to play Fiora. And, yeah, I think I went, like, 4-4 or something, but then I won the game. See, he solo killed me, like, once or twice. I solo killed him once or twice. But when I watch him play this matchup now, he's much better than he used to be as Fiora. I don't know if you've played against him recently, but I feel like he got much better at the Q-Mine games and stuff. Yeah.
But honestly, his mechanics on Scion are insane, which is also why it works, the strategy that I'm talking about. But you notice how right now Olaf has 2 items and boots. That's all he has on her. When he could have had, like, infinite gold lead, you know? He could have had literally 2,000 to 3,000 gold lead even right now. But he's same level, probably even maybe lower level, and pretty much same items. Like, yeah, sure, maybe he has like a little bit more gold, but he's 2 items to 2 items when he could have been 2 items to 1.5, or not even. He could have been 2 items to 1 if there was less gold in the game. And it's just something a lot of people don't think about, especially against Fiora. Actually, being 2 items to 3 against Fiora, you might actually lose when she has 2 items because she reaches like critical mass. You know, she has enough AD to start beating you. Not necessarily, but something to think about. Jax, for example, can beat you in your 2 to 2.5 items, right? So a 1.5k gold lead is not enough. You need to actually be up a full completed item to beat these champions, right? So Fiora, for example, might not be enough. Jax might not be enough. You actually need to get this much gold advantage to beat them 1v1 and consistently. So it's something to think about.
Let's hope they do not ban Fiora. I mean, I still have Jax, but...
Yeah,
okay, both are open.
Nice. Awesome. Very nice. So they're playing in Shen or Tryndamere. Some people play Tryndamere mid, but I would say this is probably Shen support. That said, you'll probably figure out what you're playing against soon enough.
Yeah.
You do have the last pick, which is pretty juicy.
Jax mid, I respect that.
Jax mid against thingy. Okay, it's Brand Senna, Gragas top. No, it's Gragas jungle, Shen top, Trynd mid, or Trynd top, Shen mid. Some people are playing Shen mid. I don't know what's up with Shen mid.
I don't really know what I'm playing against. I would say.
I would say Fiora's good against both. No, I'd say Fiora's good against both.
I know we'll rather have Ignite in Tryndamere, so I'll just take it.
I agree. It makes sense.
No, do I
play
want
what
to
you want? Play what you want. Play what you want. Play whatever you want. Whatever you're comfortable with.
It's always safer.
I think Demolish is really nice on her, but if you prefer this...
I prefer movement speed. I'm gonna...
Sure. Let's see what you've got.
Maybe level 1 he just get crit and then I don't kill because I do not have resolve and I want to...
No, I don't think bone plating makes a difference in this matchup like that. I feel like if you die level 1, it's because he auto-attacks you too many times, not because he crit you once. He needs little tempo stacks in order to beat you. Roblox King. I mean, I respect it.
420 is numbers, making the name look good, you know.
Of course.
Roblox King 400.
Roblox King.
20.
I respect it. Alright. Oh yeah, I noticed he took attack speed and runes instead of tenacity. I respect it. He's probably a good merch this game anyway, but... I mean, I'm like, the thing about tenacity, it feels really nice because I feel like you have more options with boots because you don't have to go tenacity that much. But
I agree.
The attack speed is really nice. It is really nice.
Yeah, especially on the combos and stuff like this. It just feels better.
Like, it's like always the argument. Like, whether you play attack speed or tenacity is also like how much early game matters to you. So in Asian servers, they would never, like, they almost never run tenacity. Like, they just don't bother running the run. In top lane, like they don't even think about it, because the only thing they're thinking about is, you know, having as much power as possible, levels 1 to 7 basically. That's an arbitrary number. I don't know when they consider laning phase to like even out, but like they want as much power as they can get. They will play like here they would play Nimbus Scorch, you know, like they would play Nimbus Scorch Alacrity to try and get as much power as possible. Like if you are going sorcery, you might as well go Scorch type of deal. Like so Fiora players would go Scorch Grasp, you know. Got popularized like a year ago or so to play Scorch Grasp with Shen Rush. I'm not a big fan, honestly. I feel like Scorch is overkill, but especially in Fiora, I feel like Gathering Storm could be quite menacing. There's something to think about.
I don't know, I always like to secure because I wasn't sure if it was like Tryndamere top. I would rather have
that makes sense, yeah. No, that makes sense. So you can also take control of the Pixel Bush, and that can be easier. Getting this information can be really good. A lot of free cheap damage. I call it cheap because it's like free, you know? Okay, a little ward. Okay.
Not the best.
I think you should extend your trade if you do that, but that's okay. We'll talk about it. Nice, solid.
I was a bit sus, but first game of the day.
No, it's okay, it's okay. I was waiting for it. I wasn't sure how you're going to sequence the combo, but after I saw it, I realized that's the only way to do it. I'd say the only thing that was sussy was the parry. I didn't like the fact that he got the auto in. He didn't parry the actual auto. Oh, he's really sad right now. Oh, he's not so sad.
Parry? Oh,
it's okay.
That is
happens. It's okay. It's a big L, yeah. It is pretty sad. It's okay though. Don't worry about it. It's not screwed yet.
No, it's not, of course.
His wave is in not a good spot. Actually, can you look at it? He should just base here. He has no other choice. He just needs to base and buy whatever he can and just walk back. If he tries to stay, he's eventually going to get jailed by you.
It's the classic first game of the day. Do not press parry.
That's okay. Not a problem, not a problem. There we go. Nice. So right now, not hitting the wave and hard freezing can also be very good. So it's just something I want you to think about. So like, if normally you're used to fast pushing here,
no, I don't
actually putting yourself in a position where you allow the enemy to come into you. So if you fast push here, and then you're making yourself vulnerable to a potential gank, right? So right now, I like using this timing to go ward as well. You know, like I don't like using my pink here, but I like to use a normal ward. You can also ward lane and pink river. This is also a possibility. So, because right now I want you to be thinking, like, how can I get ganked?
Yeah, soon.
Because right now I'm even, right? Like right now I'm even, but if I die one more time, I'm in a really tough spot, right?
Yeah.
So think about that.
I mean, I'm not even sure I want to fight on this wave.
No, probably not. It's too big, but still. Maybe he wants to fight you, he plays really aggressive, you have to respond to him, and then you end up in an awkward spot, right?
Try to get good base, then I will play like a Bwipo again. Like
I agree with you.
Like I know I don't feel comfortable playing.
I agree. Makes a lot of sense.
I don't like it.
Really? I mean, I would have went there and fought. I mean, I guess Gragas could come, but I don't know, you have good vision. I don't feel like Gragas is near.
I mean, I feel like I will lose a big part of the wave, and even if we kill him, like...
Well, it depends how long it would take to kill him, right? Well, he griefed, he flushed, now it's free. Well, now he's out. Okay, that's fine. Let's just fast push. That's okay. Well, you know what? Like I said, you made a decision and you committed to it, and that's what matters. Makai can just recall.
I mean, this guy kinda griefed now. Maybe I can dive him.
Oh, I agree. He's not in a good spot.
Have what? Ah, fuck this shit, I'm out.
Fine by me.
I mean, what I like to play, especially when I'm like not so good nowadays on the mechanics, is I like to just not completely empty it early game. I know that if I just get some AD, then I'm fine.
No, of course. I agree with it, you know. At the end of the day, Shen actually lost quite a bit more than what he lost a bunch, because also his big minion wave was killing your minions. So in terms of XP, you're actually ahead of him now. Not by much, but a little bit. I think he's about to hit 6 on this wave. Maybe you're like 2 or 3 melee creeps ahead of him. I'm not sure though. I don't know how much he lost. Just make sure your team knows that Shen's about to hit 6, so...
Yeah, I will ping.
So what I like to do against Shen is actually start breaking his wave right now. And if he ults away, then I don't freeze, but I actually look to push. Yeah, he's ulting away.
An ally has been slain.
So Herb can crush this wave, base again, or you can stay in lane as well. So a lot of when you watch like, if you watch like Korean NAR players, then they will stay in these situations to keep pressuring. Even some Korean, like even some Fiora players, I would say, would do it too. Obviously, it's just something I want you to think about. It's an option. Okay, we are Hydra rushers. Okay, I haven't seen this actually in a long time. So in the past, people used to do this, but it hasn't been popular since Mythic items.
Yeah, I agree. But I feel like I have more success with this build than Trinity. Like, it gives a lot of rating. Like, I don't know, every time I build Gore on this champion, I just feel so bad about it.
I don't mind. I think what you say makes sense.
Like, I would rather than go Divine.
So if you're freezing like this, always really good to ward the Herald here. So since you have a pink and river, just ward over the wall here and get that information. So you see how he's trying to be cheeky soloing the Herald with Gragas? Can be interesting. So just be mindful here, not running into CC and dying. Alright.
Okay, I'm not fighting that.
No, that's okay. You tried. You got the information. You got the pressure. You spotted Senna. You you spotted Gragas, spotted Senna. This is all you. You know, Maokai didn't get that information. You got that information, and now it's on your bot lane to do something with that. Not on you. You tried. You fought. You looked for a fight. You got out alive, luckily. But I think what you did was totally fine. Again, your team knows that Shen is there. If they died to Shen, not your problem.
Okay, let's interact with some champion now.
Really nice combo. Good night. The classic, misrepost into one shot.
Yeah. Actually surprised he didn't hit the riposte.
Oh, I agree. It's the same thing that I mentioned earlier, right? So in this case, actually, some Korean players will stay in lane. I'm not saying it's good. I think definitely you want a base right now, but you know, especially when you have item completed.
I mean, you want to bait.
I agree. So you can actually roam here if you want to. So this is also a timing where you can start walking out bot yourself. I'm not saying you should. It's just something you can think about. So here,
any play here, zero basing.
Walking out with Kog'Maw here and helping him re-enter is something that I used to do a lot with when I was playing on Fnatic, and Reckless was struggling in lane.
I would carry.
Like with scrims, like something weird happened, right? I would walk out bot here, and I would re-enter with him. I mean, usually it wouldn't be at 10 minutes. It would be like later in the game, where we traded sides, and then I would recall and re-enter with him.
I like the idea, but I just feel like here I just want to play for my own resources.
No, I think that's okay, especially when you're playing Fiora, right? Champion does really well at killing plates, so you going straight top and getting at least one plate here makes sense. Nice.
Oh, really?
Nice try. Nice.
Such unrefined style.
Jesus, just fucking kill him, why don't you? Alright, not bad. Like I said, I actually like the Hydra Rush a lot against tanks. Creates like a really difficult play style for play pattern for the enemy tank where you just...
I just feel like anyways in this shit, I need AD, otherwise I just cannot play.
I respect it. I mean, hey, like if you build it one-shot enemy Shen, then what can I say, you know? Can't disagree with it.
Like sometimes I go divine because of my matchup, but yeah, in general.
No, it makes sense, yeah, no. I mean, I like it. Also, like when I play a tank and I see Divine Thunder Rush, I'm really sad because I can't kill you ever unless you want to die. It's like your decision to die, you know what I mean?
I feel like I'm having like, basically, it's more is like of a skill build, but like it allows me to carry better.
Yeah, it's all good. So here, opening out on bottom side, so like walking towards Drake's really good.
Hell yeah, we are.
Bot pixel, just investigate, you know, see if it's something that's interesting.
I mean, I'm full committing at this point.
I don't mind.
Okay, we don't. I mean...
You can also Bard portal and gank them, right? So like pinging your Bard right now, that you can come from the big wall. Can also be good.
This guy.
Sure, looks good. Nice, I like it that you pressed this. Doesn't make it with the Shen. Nice, really well played.
Holy shit. Oh, Robo.
Oh.
Roblox King. I cannot
Roblox King. Yeah, the tower was really stacked, so you kind of go one shot. That's okay. Still, the play was really good up until then. And your wave is good, so who cares?
It's fine, I will just kill this Windamer without tabbies.
Yeah, I think also thinking about like Death Dance options can be really good, you know, like this would be a game where Death Dance would be really good. I mean, usually Death Dance is really good on Fiora, but I don't know what else you would buy.
Third item.
Yeah, looking for DD third item and then going from there. The portals are always faster than walking, so just a little thing.
I always forget.
I know. That's why I'm here to remind you. Okay, we're investigating.
Okay, easier.
Okay. Too many people, I would say, but if you feel it, then you feel it.
I can
Nice
just
try. Nice try. Nice try. It was a nice try. It was a nice try.
I don't commit. I would have died.
No, I agree. You'd probably die. At best, you get one more, I think. This is a really good example of, like, there's gameplay, you know? Just because there's champions on your screen doesn't mean you automatically die. I actually like that you played so aggressive. And you play patiently. Wait for your team to retake. You're basically waiting on Jayce here, so for the people wondering, you know, what you're waiting for in these situations, you're waiting for Jayce and you're waiting for someone to reply to Jayce. Any information on the Herald's really good, but you kind of already did a really good job of getting info. Hopefully Maokai will walk there and get a sapling down or something, so you can actually, you know what they're doing. Nice. Now we get info on the Herald, and now Jayce has pushed bot, so now it's our turn to play the game. And Jayce might have to play safe, depends what the enemy team does. So here's where you need to react, you know? So if they're moving to you, it's time to run. So be careful of Tryndamere waiting in this bush. You see this bush next to the tower? He's showing bot, never mind, I'm stupid. But maybe Shen can be waiting in that bush, maybe Tryndamere, so just be mindful of that. I like that you don't get baited into a bad fight. I'd be very careful here. Nice one. Really good what you're doing. And they're opening mid because of what you're doing. So now we have mid trial to go into bot first, and they're not on the Herald yet still. Really, really good.
I'm gonna steal his goals. He's just sad. I mean, this is just Maokai's life, right?
I mean, this is Maokai's life because our mid support are kind of oinking. Like, our AD, I mean. Our AD is just like pushing mid and basing.
I wanted the gold so bad for my item.
That's okay. But yeah, because Bard went bot and we tried to do something bot, which is fine, but I feel like if AD went bot as well, we would be opening their tower right now. Right, so doing golems here is also not bad, or going into mid and crossing sides. So something that a lot of people don't do here is, like, when you're playing a carry champ like this and top's all the way pushed out, just cross. Just cross. Just take over bot lane. Just tell Jayce, you know, like, go to his lane, take it over, and just basically start laning where Jayce is laning. You can take the red here. You don't really want to contest mid prior too much, unless, I mean, if you feel confident that you can win the fight, you can. I mean, being here is never bad. That's right.
I mean, yeah, I should just found my thing and just record for Drake.
Yeah, so,
I'm sorry, bro.
yeah, that's okay. Oh, nice.
Oh shit.
You should probably not hug him.
Yeah, I mean, I was pretty strong the party as well.
That's okay, it happens.
Ah, that sucks.
It does suck, but the fight isn't over yet. I think your team can do something here.
Yeah, they can. But we felt that split. Okay.
One down. Jayce is TP, so this looks really good.
On him.
The Roblox king. Running opposite side is really good, yeah, I like it as well. Fight looks decided. You should do golems here, 100%. You just have the habit of farming these golems. The thing is farming golems and farming these camps mean what? Because the reason is you're going to push this wave, you're going to push next wave, and enemy team's going to be alive with portals. So you're not going to be able to hit tier 2 anyway. So you want to get in the habit of grabbing as many resources as you can. So right now, enemy Gromp is the most you can get, right? Because you can't really do anything else. Like, right now you're going to push this wave, you're going to push next wave, and then you're going to be out of gas, you know what I mean? Enemy team is coming. So you have to play patient, because your team's still basing. So they're going to do what they're doing right now. Either die or whatever, or recall. Hopefully not die, but usually that's the case. And right now, the best thing you can attack is the Gromp. Because if you hit this top tower, basically it can work if Jayce also hits bot tower, and you both send it. But if you're the only person sending it, all it will do is just you die.
I don't know.
Well, if you hit him, he could have actually lost his life for that, so... And just take his crab, take his crab. You don't have to commit, you don't have to be too angry. Take his vision, take his crab. So this is the idea, is instead of hitting tier 2, you just get vision and information, so that the team, your team that's coming out of base, has the information to know where to play and how to play. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So right now, you spotted Gragas, you spotted Tryndamere. Boom, this is you, you know, this is your pressure. You don't see it.
Avengers are coming.
No, I mean, I like it a lot. I like that you fight him and you know, make him move. Really good. Again, you know that because you got the crab. And you spent the effort to know that Gragas is on your side. You interacted with the enemy team. Really well played. Gragas heralded mid. So this is a good recall timing, right? We don't have enough juice to keep pressuring. If we could keep pressuring, you could. I mean, you could consider staying, but Tryndamere off base is going to be coming, and it's better to just take a recall. So it's probably a Death Dance game, I would say.
I agree.
Very nice. He was playing Ignite because they were playing Shen, Tryndamere, and we didn't know whether Tryndamere was going to be coming top or Tryndamere is going to be laning top or it was going to be.
Come on, Roblox King, man.
Basically, we didn't know where the Tryndamere was going to lane, and you need Ignite Fiora to beat the Tryndamere top, which is why he's playing Ignite, and then he's trying Trinity. He just says he likes Trinity Force more, which makes sense. It's a really good item.
Okay, just like that.
Boom. Solid stuff. How did you get an assist, actually? What?
Ouch.
I actually don't know how you got an assist, but I'll take it. Gragas is here. Okay, we don't give a shit. I like it. I like it too. Nice. So opening out topside is not bad, but here I want you to just farm camps. No one's farming these camps, you should just farm. Maokai's doing top wave, so he's top laning right now, right? It's time for you to do some foresting. That's how it works.
I mean, I wanted to like support Jax, but he has enough vision and he's like...
He has really good vision, right? So if he wants to die here, that's because he's bad. Because he has all the vision he needs, you know what I mean? Either he will kill everyone or he will die like a dog. It's up to him. But he has everything he needs. I'll play it, let's bash. We can start Nash here. And Jax was fighting bot, people are bot. 2 people are dead. It's definitely a Nash attempt. Nice. But that's the idea, right? So if you're split pushing there, do you want people to come to you or do you want them to be ready to do Baron and make a pick around Baron? The answer is you want people to go to Baron, you know? Because you want people to trust you that with vision like that, that you will make, you know, a good play. Nice. So right now, I recommend you base and then start pressuring. So you don't actually touch this wave. You base and then pressure. No, because... So basically, Drake is up in 35, so if you base first and then walk out...
Oh yeah, okay.
You're just gonna have way more pressure on the map. You know what I mean? Because that 10 seconds you wasted is right now you'd be 10 seconds faster towards top wave. And you don't care about the CS, because you already have your item. If you need the item, you can go farm it. But if you want to split push, assuming you don't want to group, it's better to be starting pressuring a little bit earlier. Ouchie.
Interesting flash.
Nice try. The hope flash of hope. But anyway, I mean, this wasn't avoided. This was no. This was just in fight. Your team was just griefing. It's when your noobs get bored, they don't wait for Jax and Fiora, you know, like Kog'Maw, Maokai, and Bard. They got a bit bored. But Jax was still in base, and there was no good TP, and then you kind of got baited as well. But it's all good. So here, I think you should also have the habit of doing Gromp, because you might as well. You're waiting for information right now. You can get the information yourself, but no one's on your side, so you're potentially going 1v4, you know, 1v3, 1v4 to get this info. Meanwhile, your team is all topside. So you just grab this Gromp. Two things. One, if Gragas is on your side, you take the farm so Gragas can't take it. And two, now that you have more info, you see 3 people just because you were patient. Much less odds of getting ganked and murdered.
Okay, Roblox King, just sending it.
Holy shit, you just fucking stopwatched. It's spamming your team back, Tryndamere is coming. Oh, yeah, the fight is good. The fight is good. You know, nothing you can do about that.
We're
But
blocking.
you let your team know I'm not coming. Oh, Tryndamere didn't press R, I think. Also, who plays Hullbreaker Tryndamere in the current day and age? The fuck is that? Is that a thing? I don't know. I feel like it's not a thing.
Okay, not bad. My mechanics were a bit rusty.
That's okay. It doesn't matter. That you can practice. Decision making is harder to practice if you don't know what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
But I actually like the Trinity Force. I think I'd rather if you could, I would much prefer to play Demolish, but I think it's okay if you don't.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's just a solo queue preference. I always like to get this because, like, the movement speed, like, you see when I kill.
I agree. It's really good. No, I agree. It's really good to kill people.
I don't have the bonus movement speed.
So I think you can just leave the null magic and just go into Hullbreaker here. No, that's what I would do. Fuck it. Fuck the thing.
Yeah, I was considering as well, like, more or even Force of Nature, because here I just need movement.
It's not bad. I mean, I agree. It's not bad. But I think Hullbreaker will give you the most power either way.
Yeah.
Both are good though. It's up to you. At the end of the day, I think I can respect both.
I mean, as well, he's gonna give movement speed soon, so it's really nice buff for my champion.
That's true. Nice.
Really? Ouch.
Yeah, that shit hurts.
But this guy is void. Oh. Let me get
flush.
then I guess there's Annie.
That's fine. You didn't need to hit it to live. You have other people to CC him. You almost died. A little bit too cocky, I think, but it's fine. I'll take it. I'll take it. Nice. Solid stuff. Alright. Very good. Right. Let me pull up the VOD for you.
Alright. Roblox King.
Roblox Kling 1v9. It was a beast.
Hell yeah.
So, I like the way you played level 1, but something that you kept doing against Shen is actually, wait till the shield runs out. So the way Shen works is after he casts an ability, he gets a shield, right?
Yeah.
You should wait until it runs out. A lot of times, you would, like right now, you queue straight into it. When if you just waited and just kept holding this position, like either you walk in closer and ward, and then queue in, or you just queue in blind, right? You could even queue in blind, because you know he's going to be somewhere in this bush, right? You're either going to hit him or Gragas. But you did 0 damage to him because you didn't actually hit him.
Yeah.
Because he blocked it all with the shield. Same thing's going to happen here. So you need to know, like right now, if you're trying to trade with him, you actually want to wait. See, as soon as he used Q, he actually fucked up. See, now you know his shield is on cooldown, because he's already dragging his Q. And if you just space out a little bit right now, you give him a little bit of space, walk this way.
I agree. Also,
and then go on him all in, his shield will just disappear for free and you'll be able to screw him way harder. Like the first auto you did was like not necessarily bad, but you needed the Q to get away, because obviously if he pulls his Q through you, Shen's kind of OP level 1.
No, I agree with you. I should just give him more space, then he will walk up and he will have no Q. And because I have the front mark vital, I know that the next is going to be behind.
So the thing is, I don't want you to not fight with him when he has Q up. I don't care about his Q. I care about the shield. Because you beat him even if he has Q. You don't beat him if he has shield. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Because the thing is, Shen is strong because like, grasp and a shield is what makes his trades really strong. But he won't have grasp, and if you wait his shield, he won't have shield. So even though he has Q and he does a bit of bonus damage, this bonus damage doesn't matter because you do way more damage. So that's the first thing. And then the second thing, I actually think, I'm not sure why you gave up here at fighting, because I still think you win. Right now. Up here, I still think you win. Because you have a really good ward, Gragas is not coming. And if you keep fighting him, basically he needs to Q flash to enter a situation where he could possibly beat you. Because he needs to pull it through you again, right? And he needs to flash in order to secure that, unless you fuck up. But I feel like if you don't fuck up, you can keep auto-attacking him and proccing your Conqueror. You don't need to. You can. You do beat him. All in right now. Unless he Q flashes. You do beat him. So it's a small thing.
Incompatible with the vital. But yeah,
that's okay. That's okay. I don't mind. I was just wanted to mention it. Shen is not as strong as people think. Obviously here we just riposte. But Shen is not as strong as people think if you play around his passive. The reason why he feels so strong in a lot of trades is because people get murdered by his passive. People just keep trading into it and get owned. So for Shen's POV, so something that I like to do when I'm obviously VOD reviewing myself is also try to problem solve someone else's position, right? So in this case, Shen's position, he just needs to recall and buy Ruby Crystal. He doesn't have another choice, right? So his wave is screwed. His champion is really slow at pushing, so he needs to just recall because you're going to be strong enough to stop him from crashing the wave. And now he took a recall, but the only thing it did was put the wave in a worse position. So in this case, I usually like actually trading with my opponent. So here I like chunking my opponent. Just attacking this guy and doing some free damage. The reason being is, for me personally, a lot of times, especially on my junglers here, like, this is kind of a free kill if you can chunk him. So if you can take, like, this much HP, you get him to take tower shots, get him to use E. If he E's this way, he's dead, guaranteed. And it won't take that long to kill him, right? So you'll still be able to get most of this wave. But I like that you made a decision and commit to it. I don't mind. It's just something to think about, right? Whatever you do, commit to your decision. So in this case, you tell your Maokai, figure it out, Shen uses flash, you come back, and you end his career. Really good, right? Well, not yet. You're in his career now. After this. So like I mentioned here, it's really good when you have a freeze, that when you're freezing, you still play the game. So in this case, you coming around here to ward, check who's here. So in this case, you check Gragas. Obviously, could be good if we are paying attention. Because the Shen, one thing the Shen has done is just taunted every single time. Like, he's never really waited for your riposte. So mentally, I want you to also start coming into the idea of riposting early. Because like, this guy's done this every single fight, you know? Every single fight he's had is just insta sends it, you know? It's a small thing, but something to think about. Adapting to what your opponent's doing. Either way, you tell your team here, like, here already, you know, making sure you ping on my way on the top wave and let them know that I'm not moving can be really good. But I really like the way he managed the wave, and then here, he gave you an opportunity, tries to trade with you. You poke the thingy off, he taunts you, and you know you're going to kill him when he taunts you there. So, really, really well played. Boom. Really nice combo, solid stuff. Like I mentioned, so actually some Asian players will continue pressuring here, especially if they don't have item. Now, if they have item, I would say they will base, but let's say you have 1100 right now, right? They're happy laning with this HP to Shen's full HP.
Yeah, I would probably push one more wave until I get
they'll
item.
just stick around and lane. Even if they have like 900, they'll stay for 2 or 3 more waves. They don't mind. A lot of Kennen and Nars will do this, especially. Jayce will do this sometimes, but especially lane dominant champs. They will just stay in lane, and I'm 60%, you're 100. That's going to change real fast. Don't worry about it, type of deal, you know? So that's something that I wanted to bring up. Something that I realized watching a lot of the Asian pros start doing on champions like Nara and Kennen. So here, this is why Hydra is really good. For the people wondering, why is he rushing Hydra? Well, first of all, he likes it. Nothing to argue with that. If you like it and you know what you're doing with an item, that doesn't mean the item is bad. If you have a plan, usually it's good. But you can lose about half of your HP, and pretty much every single wave, you're refunding half of your health. So you just heal up off on the wave, and if the opponent tries to contest you, usually you end up just beating him. So, I like it a lot, actually. I think it's pretty smart. It's what people started doing on Olaf, right?
I mean, also trading, like, I feel like I have kill pressure and in one straight all-in.
No,
like
it makes sense, yeah, no, it makes sense. You do a lot of damage. Here, we go into mid, we participate in the fight, get a really good fight going. A little bit greedy here, because we tank 2 tower shots.
Oh, yeah.
So we tunnel vision a bit, because Jack's dropping aggro, right? So right now we kill him, and then we need to reset aggro, and we can reevaluate the situation.
Yeah.
But otherwise, really good. You moved, you participated. Same thing here, you move, you participate. If you go straight top here, and you don't secure this area for yourself, what can happen is they can come around behind you and kill you. So what a lot of people, like, you notice how Maokai is the reason why you have vision in the try? A lot of people, what they will do is that right now they'll just be like, oh, Maokai's here, I can just go straight top, right? And then Maokai recalls, and then they're dead. So one thing I will say, if you're on this side, right? Right now, Maokai's recalling, Jax is in base, and Kog'Maw's bot with no summons, right? Like, he doesn't have TP. What I recommend you to do is actually to do this or this, because it's way more consistent. Because the argument is that enemy bot lane pushed, based, and they're coming out like this, you know? Same thing what you're doing, right? You pushed, like you went mid, you died, and now you're coming out on the map, right? So the reason why you take these camps first is, like I said, first, you wait for info, you wait for someone else to get the information for you, because if you face check right now and you see Gragas, Senna, and Brandon on your screen, you're fucked. Now, obviously you know that they can't be here yet because you have info, right? You know that they made a play, right? So if you go back, right, you died, you respawned, so you have information that they can't be here yet, because first of all, like Maokai is here, second of all, like they can't just TP here, right? But you don't know where they're going, the map is very dark. They could be here, they could be moving here. They can be really close. And if you face check them and get chunked too low, what can end up happening is that someone can push out top here. Like, for example, good players, what they would do right now, Tryndamere shifts into top, right? Shen goes bot, and their mid support will take over mid here, right? So this is mid support jungle, not mid, AD. It's their bot lane, basically. It's bot lane and jungle will walk in here. Tryndamere will move like this, take over top lane. And basically, you running in here, if you get chunked, you won't be able to defend this tower at all. Whereas if you take the camps here and wait for info, like let's say you start golems right now, ward over the wall, take red, take whatever you can, like you drag it away into safety, right? Like so you do it safely. You wait for information that will help you make a better decision. Because you running in isn't necessarily bad if you're really good at fighting, but keep in mind, next time, Brand will be around this corner right now stunning you, right? Yeah. Right now, there's a Brand stunning you, or a Nautilus ulting you, or whatever,
I'm gonna just get insta one shot.
The idea is whether you get one shot or not, it's just less consistent, and that's what I'm worried about, right? Because here, Brand is here, but he might as well be here, right? Senna might as well be right next to him. And right now, they go on you. If you can outplay, great. But you might not be able to. So you looking for this pick is great. But giving the information you have, which is homie in base, homie bot, which is basically in base. Like, this guy's never fucking fighting. You're 4v5 minimum. This is assuming Jayce has TP. Jayce has TP. Maokai's base, you're 3v5. Jayce has no TP. You're actually 2v5 right now. Because no one has to be bot. Mid, you're literally mid. So people are mid. And the only person that should be going top is Tryndamere, which is going to be through top, right? Because Shen should be basing and going bot. Or should after the fight, after dying, he should be going bot, because this is where this is where there's no action, right? Kog'Maw showing on the wave, Kog'Maw can't do anything. 1v1. So with Herald being coming up, it's spawning soon. This is why topside is really dangerous right now, and why if you can take all these camps right now, so you can take like golems and red, their natural timing of walking into your jungle and taking your shit is going to be empty. So normally Maokai should be doing it right now. They should be, basically the way the game should evolve right now is if we're not strong enough to fight Herald, right? It's two things. It starts with taking camp, and taking camp, and taking camp. Why? Herald isn't up yet, and we're waiting for Kog'Maw. So if we're waiting for Kog'Maw, you might as well farm. Agreed?
Yeah, agreed.
Because the only way to contest Herald is if Kog'Maw pushes bot and moves. That's why we're waiting for Kog'Maw. This is plan A, let's call it, the first plan, which is contest Herald 5v5, right? 5v5 on Herald. This is plan number 1. We need to wait on Kog'Maw to do that. Plan B is trade sides, right? Which is Fiora takes over bot, so you go bot and you take over, or Jayce goes bots and takes over, and basically we create a situation where we open top and then kill whoever's bot, right? We try to. If no one's bot, we trade sides, right?
Yeah.
Which again requires you to take these camps, because if you're trading sides and you don't take these camps, then the enemy team gets plus 300 gold on a trade side situation, which is not good. 3 camps equals how much gold?
3 camps?
Yeah, 3 camps. How much gold? Roughly. 300, right?
Yeah, 300, but
so what I used to tell my team...
Get it. So it's twice, no? Twice value. Because
you lose 300 and they get 300, sure. But what I used to tell my team is when I was jungling is like, look, 3 camps equals 2 waves. Right? It's 300 gold worth of golden XP. So if you guys want me to give up my 3 camps, I need to see that someone else is losing at least 2 waves and suffering equally hard. And everyone got that because everyone lanes, so everyone gets that. It's like, oh fuck, that's 3 waves, like 2 waves. Like level 3, if you lose 2 waves, right? You're very sad, aren't you?
Yeah.
So when someone on my team asked me to do 3 camps in the same side, I was like, well, I'm losing 2 waves for this. Are you going to carry me? Because if you play 1v1 and you lose 2 waves 1v1, you can't carry it, can you? It's very hard.
Yeah.
So just the mindset to help people understand from a jungler's perspective. Because if you open a calculator, it's about 300 gold worth of golden XP, which is roughly the same as what a laner would lose, right? 2 waves, if one of them is a cannon wave, you lose this much. In fact, if it's not a cannon wave, you actually lose less as a laner than 3 camps as a jungler. But it just helps people understand and relate to you. What I do really like is the fact that Shen shows top, Brand shows mid, and Tryndamere shows mid, so you can queue forward because, again, they can't teleport and one-shot you. Just because they're on your screen doesn't mean they can one-shot you. Right? So I really like that you are looking and you're creating the space. You fighting with Gragas here and fishing, especially because your champion can. Right? So for example, Camille here could like auto-queue, like maybe you can walk up and W the guy. You're fishing for info. Obviously, if you int, you're griefing really hard, okay? Dying here is the worst thing you can do. Which is why I recommend plan, the first plan, which is to take these camps. But if you are here and you're PvPing, just make sure you know what you're doing. Because if you die, it's really bad for the game.
Yeah, in this case, I would prefer take the camps. and in some case I will.
I think it would be much better. Yeah, I think it's just much safer. And again, it plays into the rest of the game. So like I said here, Jayce will take over bot, and if the camps are gone right now, then the only thing the enemy team can play for is the top tower, which you can't stop anyway. Like right now, if the enemy team is good and they come behind you with 3 or 4 people, well, what can you do? Nothing.
Yeah.
You'll just leave, right? Which is why you're leaving right now. Now the enemy team is playing solo queue, so they're not that good. You know, they're not coordinated. They're just gonna let you take top wave. That happens, and again, you're there to punish the mistake, which is great. But see how they now try to push you out of top lane, right? They should have happened here already and over here, right? When you were here, they should have already happened. But they end up doing it now after you've taken the wave. So here, the way to solve the situation is you sneak away, which is really big. You taking these waves is huge for the pressure on the map. So like I mentioned, if you can't contest the Herald here, you can either base right now, take a whatever base, and just take over Jayce's lane. So the idea is right now, Jayce has been laning for about 2 to 3 waves, right? And he will have something to buy or not, but you will come fresh. So the idea is because they've been interacting with Tryndamere for 2 or 3 waves, you coming in fresh. Have you played top lane when you've been laning against someone for 2 to 3 waves? Exactly. He will also want to base at some point. And you coming in fresh means that you can extend this time that he has to stay in lane to 4 to 5 waves, and suddenly he'll end up in a situation where he hasn't based in so long and someone needs to relieve him because he just fought off Jayce. Maybe he's like 60% health, you know? Maybe he used an important summoner spell or ult cooldown to lane, right? Because he's weak. And then you show up and you're fresh, you know? You have ult, you have ignite, you have everything. So you're going to crack this tower in no time.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
So obviously in solo queue it doesn't always work because people don't get it too much. But in this case,
Jayce will just rather laning here.
Yeah, I understand. But the point is here, you just coming in bot lane and taking over. So you just start hitting his tower and then you share the wave with him. And obviously in this case, this is how you get your item, right? So the idea is you can't get any gold here because you pushed in deep, which is a miracle, by the way. You should never get the wave in this deep. But you got the wave in really deep and it's crashing, right? So the only way for you to do anything is to go bot and hit this tower with him. And then obviously sharing the wave means you can get your item. Now you can also take this wave, same idea. And then Kog'Maw does that bot lane. But in this case, I think it's not bad. Plan 3 is look for camp here, look for camp here.
Then I get the mana and then I can like spend half of my mana to like farm camps. Because here I was like really uncomfortable to like farm because I was like, if something happens mid, then I have no mana to fight.
No, that makes sense. I see what you mean.
So I like the recall a lot. Then I just take the X gate and I go bot. And if he doesn't need help, then I can just farm the camps, you know?
So it's like right now, you blow up this wave and you know that you can't push further because people are on your side. Bard is here. Kog'Maw's here. You know that they would just try to push you out, right? We just saw them. They're still topside. They're still looking through the Herald. So what you do is either you contest Herald really hard, which in this case isn't very smart because you're playing Fiora and you're about to spike on 2 items. You want to just split push. You want to make the game about you, not about them. So what you do is you blow up this wave and then you go on recall and then you don't even have to take the portal, but you open out on bot side and then you just either gank the guy and tower dive him, which is also an option, right? You can just tower dive the guy. Or if the guy doesn't want to die or he just leaves, you just take over Jayce's lane, you tell him to base and go farm top, right?
Yeah.
Now, sometimes people get triggered when you do that, because obviously it feels like you're stealing their farm, but you're not actually. They will base and catch the top waves, and yeah, they'll go down like 1 or 2, like they'll have less CS than maybe they should have had, but it's not by much. So here we end up kissing Jayce here, and we kill each other.
Oh yeah.
This is the brand passive, so that's a bit awkward, but it's not the end of the world. So the idea applies still. You have Trinity Force, you open out on the map, you try to make a play together with your team. It makes a lot of sense. Same idea here though. If you are playing on the same side as your team and there isn't a fight, doing 1 camp on the way there can be really good to make sure you keep this gold income flowing.
Yeah.
We end up dying, but your team wins. Really good. Same idea here. Again, I just wanted to mention this, but because you know death timers, right? So this is a death timer situation. So maybe if you're playing Demolish Fiora, you can tell me right now, like, oh, yeah, no, I'm going to push here. I'm going to one-shot this top tower. Maybe, right? I'm not a Fiora player, so I don't know. But the point is these guys are going to be alive, and these guys still need bases. So usually when you're playing solo queue, well, people are going to win the fight and they're going to want to capitalize, right? So they're going to want to take Raptors, they're going to push bot, push mid, and then base. So what ends up happening is these guys will be out on the map first, correct?
Yeah.
Right? At least these two will be up on the map, and Senna's already alive. So what's going to happen is if you go alone top, because this guy wants to base, this guy wants to base, this guy wants to base, and support doesn't really care, but he'll probably base because he wants wards. So 4 of your teammates want to base after winning a fight. And what's going to end up happening if we watch the evolution of the fight, right?
Yeah.
Let's say you didn't do golems, and right now you're walking up to this tier 2. Pause, right? You are in a 1 versus... Well, in this case, 1v2 situation. But maybe next time Senna won't die mid and you'll be 1v3.
I mean, I cannot get the tower. Like,
well,
even
I'm
if
saying,
I demolish, like, maybe
I want you to
can
think
get
about
it, but I will die.
I want you to think about it, okay? If you tell me right now, I like those odds, go for it. I just want you to be aware of why I want you to do golems and then do Gromp here, because you're going to be outnumbered. And if you're playing these split push champs, sometimes that's your best chance to carry the game. Like sometimes you picking a fight here is the best chance for you to carry the game, right? If it was a split pusher, 1v3 might be your best chance because normally you're 1v5 or 1v4, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So think about it.
I mean, here I'm just getting
this is the reason why you're doing golems. The reason why you're doing golems is because you think hitting this tower is going to result in a 1v3. You know? Hitting top equals 1v3. So I prefer to do golems and Gromp because they're safer and I get resources anyway. Make sense?
Yeah, it does. It does make a lot of sense.
Alright, you interact with top here, take his ultimate, really good. Just be mindful, so you remember what I told you? This is what I told you, right? So people can like have wards here and just instantly TP as soon as you start fighting. Now you are safe because of the way you're playing, but I just wanted to remind you, when you initiate with someone, especially in competitive, right?
Oh yeah.
Someone TPs, right now, you're in actually a worse spot. Same thing with Shen ult, right? So in this case, this is someone cancelling him, but right now, if Tryndamere, like you queue forward and Shen ult's the second you queue forward, Tryndamere spins on you, slows you, you're going to be in a tough spot without flash.
Yeah.
Because you can't kill him before the Shen ult comes because of his ult, right? And then Shen is going to have W and blah, 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 blah. And again, maybe you win, maybe you lose. Just think about it. I'm not saying don't fight him. I'm saying be aware that they have that option.
Yeah, I didn't think about it.
That is okay. So we take over bot, we take the tower. Let's have a look here, actually. We base, spend our gold after pushing the neutral wave. We force Tryndamere out. My team is playing 4v4. Now we're playing 5v5. Tryndamere has no ult, so he's really weak. We're also there to match him. So you notice how you pushing the wave and insta-basing. Sure, he's a little bit earlier than you. But you're still participating in the same fight he participated in, right? So we ended up killing some more people, getting the bot tower, which is really good. Base, and we walk out on the map again. Same idea here, okay? So the idea is, well, first of all, Maokai should be doing camps and you should be walking towards top to push. But since Maokai is moving top to push, you going in bot lane and putting all your eggs in this basket doesn't really make sense, because let's look at it this way. If you go bot and show, let's say there's a ward anywhere here. You take this portal, there's a ward that spots you anywhere, like a red buff ward here that spots you, or there's a random ward that you walk over. If you guys are XV2 bot, how many people do we need to drag bot lane before we can do Baron with our 3-man? That's what you should be asking yourself, right? So Bard, Maokai, and Kog'Maw, how many people do we need?
Yeah, I mean,
in this X, so that
probably 4 actually.
4 or 5, I would say. I would say maybe even 5.
4.
Because Baron, when you pull Baron, okay, it's +1, okay? Baron is a champion on the enemy team. When you're fighting Baron, he counts as an enemy team champion, okay? That's what I always say. Like, that's what Hill used to say, and it's pretty much it, right? Like, Baron is a champion. So if you fight a 4v4 a 4v5 at Baron, you're actually fighting 5v5 as they're doing Baron. That's the idea. Because Baron's helping you. Baron's killing their team. It's shredding resistances, CCing them, hitting them, etc. So the thing is this needs to be a minimum of 4 people that you're dragging, right? And this is assuming you're 3. Now, can you look at the minimap right now and tell me how many people you have on the map?
I mean, we're 3.
We are 2.
We're 2.
If you go bot, we are 2. So,
yeah,
question is, can they 2v0 Baron?
It's really bad.
They can 2v0 maybe. 2v1, no chance. Because 2v2 will be 2v2.
I will rather take the portal, farm some krugs.
So this is again, exactly right. So this is why you end up here, right? And you realize now, oh wait, what? I'm bottom side, Maokai's pushing top. What the fuck just happened? So how do we fix the issue? Just do wolves and react. Wolves, walk out mid, react. Make sense?
Yeah, makes a lot
of
sense.
Do these. You know, you could even do Gromp if you want, and then take over bot if Jack's on space. But since Jax is fresh too, and he's a split pusher too, we're just gonna take wolves. Maybe we take chickens. If someone else takes chickens, we just go like this, and we just react, right? You just walk over mid, walk into top side, and we take over on this next wave, right? Make sense?
Yeah.
If Maokai does another wave, well, we just do this camp instead, or this camp instead. You know, and we just look for this info. You look for this info, we look for something instead. Right? So keep that in mind. So what you do is good, the adaptation is really good, but again, this is the adaptation you need to have in case you end up in the wrong spot. And a lot of times you will not make the right decision. You will end up on the wrong side of the map, and the best thing you can do is The best thing you can do is fix it by finding something else to farm and then going to the place you're supposed to be. And then the second question, right? If you're in this situation as Jayce or Fiora, right? If you were, let's say you're split, right? So the other way around, you're now bot lane playing Fiora looking for a solo kill, and Jayce is the one that's doing wolves right now. Do you really want to go here bot, and if you both die 2v4? The game is so much harder than if you're pressuring Baron and making it a 4vx at Baron.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because Jayce can win a 1vx, right? Just like you can win a 1vx, Jayce can win a 1vx, right? Now, he can't win every 1vx. Sometimes x equals 3 or 4, and you don't win. But when x equals 2, we win. Check, we win.
Yeah.
Make sense? So when x equals 2, we win. When x equals 3 or 4, this becomes a possibility to Baron. That's the idea. That's why you don't want to go bot, because like I mentioned, a 3vx might not... This is still sketchy. If this is Gragas staying at Baron, and you guys are these three donkeys are doing Baron, meanwhile Gragas is just looking at them, maybe he steals, maybe he like chunks them, maybe, you know. And we don't want to have any maybes when we're playing a champion that we know we're going to carry the game on, right? No need to take those maybes. So, boop. Play together. Look at that. Get Nash. Same idea here. So you know after this you have item, right? So you know you have your item after this Baron. And you also know Drake is like, if you actually look at the timer, I think it's 45 right now. Seconds till it spawns. But even if it's 1 minute, right? The idea is if you base first and walk out on the map, you save yourself those 10 seconds. And those 10 seconds, that's all you need to take, that's all you need to start taking towers. Which is why basing immediately is good. Now, if you don't have your item, and the core item is obviously really good, you can opt into doing the top wave for gold and then basing. But you see how it's 45 seconds? If you base right now, 39 seconds, 39 seconds till Drake spawns, you take a portal or you start walking, you're going to start hitting top waves. Basically, when 20 seconds till Drake spawns, you're already top and hitting waves. When Drake is actually alive, you're at the tier 2. Whereas this way, because you spent 10 seconds beforehand, because again, this minion wave is not a minion wave you can use to pressure.
Yeah,
if you still need to
and
base.
sometimes they can even clear the way.
Right, because you're basing. Now, the other alternative is to stay. You have item, I don't care, I'm still staying. So, think about it. If you notice that you made a mistake. So here, for example, often I would notice like, oh fuck, I have to stay in order. I have to stay in order. I have to stay in order to pressure this. Also an option. And the third option is, I fucked up. I want to split push, but I fucked up. I'll just take the portal bot, or I'll walk bot, and I'll just fight Drake 5v5. These are the three options you have. Again, just think about it. It's not always right. It's not always wrong. In this case, you know, we end up in a situation where we're kind of coming in, right? And we see that there's 5 people here. Right? So another alternative for you is to just say, fuck this shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, alright guys, you can go figure this out. I am not interested. And you just cross into the other side and you start pressuring here. Again, think about it. You know, sometimes you're going to walk in there and win 1v4, sometimes you're not. Just think about it. Same idea here, right? You're walking out on the map. The only champion you saw, Tryndamere's bot, Shen is bot. Now Tryndamere goes in Fog of War and you have no vision bottom side, right? So the way I like to describe it is Tryndamere was here, right? This is the dot where Tryndamere was at. And every second that Tryndamere goes missing, there's a bigger circle that spawns around him of where he can be, right?
Yeah, like
so let's say
in ultimate.
Right? Yeah, basically, sure, why not? It's more like his W, but yeah, sure. So let's say 10 is a bit too much. Let's say in 5 seconds he can be anywhere in this circle, right? Obviously it's a bad circle because I'm bad at drawing, but you get the idea. Anywhere in 5 seconds he can be in this circle. Anywhere in 10 seconds he can be in the next circle. Anywhere in 15 seconds he can be in the next circle. And as the game time passes, he can be further and further away from where he was in Fog of War. And unless you see him or spot him, right? Let's say it takes him 20 seconds to get here, or whatever, right? He can be anywhere in this circle within 20 seconds, let's say, right? Obviously my circle sucks, but you get the idea.
Yeah.
And the reason being is because you have no vision here. For all you know, there's going to be multiple people here trapping you. Does that make sense?
It does.
Because it's not just Tryndamere. It's also Brand, it's Senna, it's Gragas. So you right now might be walking into all of these people. Now you know that you're not walking into Tryndamere at least, and you're probably not walking into anyone else either, because usually they're dead, or you saw them base, or right now they're dead in base. So they're not here yet. But give them 10 more seconds, 15 more seconds, 20 more seconds, and suddenly you're walking around the corner right here and you're walking into a whole bunch of bad people trying to kill you. So what's your solution, right? Your solution is whoever is touching these minion waves with the vision they have, right? Mid wave is usually the solution. Because, again, like I mentioned, you open out mid, you can test this mid wave is going to conga line down, and people are going to start showing on this wave. If people don't start showing on this wave, that's okay too, because the next step 2 of pushing mid-wave is you take the homies and you start face checking bushes. So in this case, you would either enter top side or you would enter bot side, right? Whatever you guys feel more comfortable. But in this case, you would be doing wolves, and then you would be hovering into mid, and then here, Maokai would start face checking top side and getting you all the information you need. Because then we're going to start seeing people. Third, okay, and this never happens, but I just wanted to be very thorough with you. If no one shows top, alright, they open mid, they open top, alright, they're trying to kill me bot. It happens sometimes. But this is why I want you to do the Gromp in this case, right? Or do Gromp and Wolves, whatever it is. In this case, Maokai did the Wolves, so here. Doing Gromp is a little bit more scary because, like I said, people can come and kill you. But, you know, you can just queue over the wall and escape, right? It's not too hard. Just keep it in mind. We go here, we see Tryndamere now. The next time we're going to see, we actually see Gragas too, which is pretty funny. I actually didn't notice that. But we see Tryndamere and Gragas both go missing, right? So let's assume he finishes his camp, right? But give him 25 seconds and he'll be here soon, right? In fact, let's say he doesn't do the golems, right? Which would be smart because he needs to go on the map and start pressuring. You guys just, you know, you guys are stronger on the map. He wants to play the game right now because they're losing. So he wants to look for an opportunity where they outnumber you. Give him 10 more seconds, like right now, right? It's 23. We saw Gragas at 23. Let's say he doesn't farm golems and starts walking towards you. By the time you finish Gromp, he can be here. Tryndamere can be here. Brand can be here. Senna can be here, etc. Right? So just something to think about. You know, this guy doesn't have to show here. He could be doing this right now with the rest of his team, right? He could be walking in, looking for you, looking to see if you're anything. I'm not saying that's a good or bad thing, okay? I'm just saying, this is the idea behind vision and waiting as a split pusher. So because you waited, right, which was this, and this is relatively safe, don't misunderstand. Like, I don't want you to feel like Gromp is unsafe. Usually when you're winning, Gromp is pretty safe, because if they come all the way here to kill you, and you can buy any amount of time, they will lose this and potentially this, right? So that's why there's a lot of risk involved taking this. But waiting for this mid-wave, or better yet, being a part of this mid-wave contest, right? Either you farm this if you made a mistake and you're not contesting the mid-wave, you farm this because, well, I fucked up, I'm not on mid, this is the best I can do to still be relevant on the map, which is farm something. Or you're here mid and you're walking in with your homies right now and you're helping them. Or you hover mid like this and then you go bottom side. Make sense?
Yeah.
That's the idea. You know, you open out on the map. So here, like I said, ideally you actually do this path. You know, you cross into mid here and then you go bottom side so you can start looking to touch the bot wave. Just be mindful. Enemy team wants to trap you here, 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 here. Hell, they could be here, they could be here. They need to do something to kill you or kill someone on the map. So either that's Jax or that's you probably this game. They could also hard force mid, but if they hard force mid, then at least they'll have info, right? But this is what you're waiting for. If you start queuing around here, let's say you just walked straight in, right? You walk straight in here. Tryndamere and, like, so Senna and Brand could be in this bush, or like one of them could be in this bush, and then Gragas and Tryndamere are coming to collapse on you. You can see that happening, right? Right now, Tryndamere and Gragas went missing now. You know, like they're now here on the map, on the map, on the map, on the map, and they're doing this, you know, together because they're like, fuck it, we're looking for a pick here, and they press S in this bush. Yeah, they could be in this bush if they wanted to be. So if you ran in and face checked 3 people, maybe you die, maybe you don't. All I'm saying is, you probably don't want to walk into 1v3 instead of waiting until your team gets the information and then playing 1v1 or 2v1. Those are odds that you would prefer. Something to think about. In this case, they all go topside and you end up taking the inhib because that's the reward of having a split pusher on your team. It's not like your team is taking a risk checking vision and getting nothing out of it. No, they get Fiora, which is going to beat Shen +1 easily and potentially even 1v3 at this point of the game. So that's the reward that your team gets for waiting for you and you for waiting on them, right? That's why your team kind of has to, you know, do the exploring for you. In terms of build, like I mentioned, I think Hullbreaker is just really good for Fiora, obviously. She uses all the stats really well. But I think Force Nation is good too. Anyway, that's going to be it for this game.
Yeah, we'll just
pretty solid stuff.
Hullbreaker if the game goes longer, but maybe for the the magic resist was better. Because
I don't disagree.
To be a last fight, right? And the game is
you can also buy elixirs, think about it. You know, you could also buy elixirs, for example. But yeah, I like that you committed to decisions that you wanted to do. And then, like I mentioned, for mid and late game, this is all relevant for Jax too. And for laning phase stuff, well, I think it was pretty stock standard. The only thing I would say, like I mentioned against Shen specifically, wait for his passive shield and then trade with him if he uses Q too early. Especially level 1 here, it's really obvious. He's like, he literally casts Q before he's even near you, you know? Like, this Q, I'm sorry, but this guy Qs like this. I'm playing GP Shen right now, and this guy Qs like this. I know he can't lane because this guy shit at Shen.
Hell yeah.
I win this. I win the game instantly. I know he can't lane. It's GP Shen because this was a matchup where it was really important that you knew how to like play around the passive as GP, because you could actually lose this lane even though it was considered a winning lane. But either way, you owned him. Really nice stuff, solid stuff. Other than that, I like the way you recovered after making that small mistake. You were committed to your decisions, came back into your lane. Fantastic. Alright, feel free to queue up again, and we'll play one more. Again. In terms when it comes to Fiora and Jayce, what's really important is just that you have control over your wave. And you know what you're doing. Oftentimes, you will just have to take an L. That's just the way it is. So if you're playing in jungle, these champions don't actually do a good job of tanking jungle pressure. So it's something to think about, right?
Yeah.
Do you advise insta pushing waves inside and waiting to order to get more waves in a safer position? Just what I explained, right? You want to wait for information. What you do with your waves, I don't care, but you need information to do something with your wave in the first place. So if you... First things first, always go through mid, okay? So always go to the pixel bush if you can. In fact, the first thing I said here, the mistake we made is not going through mid. So here we end up in this situation where we have to wait for information because we're not mid with the homies to get info. Because like I said, just like they could be here trapping you, they could be here trapping us. Right? They could be here. Gragas, Senna, Brand, they could all be here. We wouldn't know. Yeah, I mean, if we take the portal, we would know. But if they walk like this, we wouldn't know. And they could be there. We don't know. We don't have info. The only thing is we know Gragas is here because of the info we got. Sure. In this game, you see Gragas is here. By sheer luck and also kind of incompetence by Gragas, because realistically speaking, he could just body slam over the wall here and never get spotted by minions, right? So the point is they can have 3 people here. We're face checking 3 people. Tryndamere could do this bot wave and start moving this way, right? There's no vision on the map, so you see, we only have this one little ward in mid, which is helpful. It is a very good ward. Don't misunderstand me. It's the only vision we have. But I don't know if it shows people cutting like this. If it does, well, great. Then you know what's happening. If it doesn't, you might be face checking 3 or 4 people here. My point is, you being here and making sure that you kill all counterplay for the enemy team is what matters. Because if you're walking in here with your team and you're hovering, you can still break off the bot lane and start pressuring on this wave. Which is the wave you're going to pressure on anyway if you go bot lane. So if you watch, right? If you actually watch the situation play out, you can't touch this wave without risking death, right? Because, well, in this case, you have info on Gragas, but even if you don't, Gragas is anywhere right now. We don't know. Let's say you didn't see him do golems. He could be anywhere. He could be topping this tri-brush behind us right now and we wouldn't know. Which is why this is going to be the wave you're going to be pressuring on regardless. That's why you can still go mid lane, still take this vision, and then cross all the way and still make it on this wave. Because that's the wave your teammates can help you pressure. So if you'll pay attention, this is actually the wave Fiora uses to actually pressure. And why going straight bot lane doesn't make any difference. And why a lot of people are like, oh, I should go straight bot. No, going straight bot is never good. Okay, not never good. It's never good to pressure. Because it allows the enemy team to outnumber your team in the mid wave. And if your team wins outnumbered fights anyway, then of course it's good. Then you just, then you're pressuring faster. But the question is never about which wave you can start pressuring. The question is which wave can your team start pressuring. Does that make sense? I'm also talking to you, Jayce.
Oh, yeah, it does make a lot of sense.
It's not about which wave you can pressure. You're ready to pressure on this wave, but your team isn't ready yet. Because this wave, they need to get vision first. Then this wave, the next one that's coming, is the wave we're going to actually pressure. So in this case, we're actually quite fast at the top wave with Jayce. We ignore mid wave. So we sped up the situation. We sped up the macro play, right? So we instantly sent it here. So another alternative that you can do to include yourself is to actually go mid here and start pushing mid. Just an option, right? That's another option you have is, we're going straight top on that wave, right? So if you notice in this case, we actually pressure top on the wave that Fiora gave up, right? So this is the Jayce wave, right? This is the same wave. This is, let's call it wave 1, right? This is wave 1. Jayce actually ends up pressuring on wave 1 because Kog'Maw, Bard, and Maokai just go straight into his lane and just send it. My point is, you contesting wave 1 on the bot lane at the same time and dying is just not that good. It's possible. Like, if you want to send it here instead of going Gromp here and you want to send it bot lane on wave 1, you can. But if you die, we're only going to get tier 2 and that's going to be the end of our pressure cycle, Then we have to go fuck. Like, everyone has to leave. If Fiora dies here, everyone has to leave because Jayce will have to go base and defend, right? He'll go base and defend, sorry. These guys can't stay now because Jax has to go base and defend, so we could be 4v3, or we could be 5v3, or we could be 5v4, which is why I don't like going on the same timing. But Jax has the luxury of doing this because his whole team is coming to hover him, right? So that's very different. So in this case, if your whole team is opening out as Fiora on the bottom side, please, do start contesting this wave. But in this case, our whole team is going top side. We don't have the right to contest right now because we don't have the information to take a risk. Rumble, okay. Not playing Ignite against Rumble?
Yeah, I was not sure about like the flex, if it was like Rumble mid. But yeah, usually I think I would play Ignite. Let's see. Because I might like damage in all in without Ignite.
Sure.
30 seconds until minions spawn.
Oh. Investigation. So, really important that you check the runes and that adjusts your mindset. And then playing against Rumble especially. Depending on what he skills level 1, it will drastically change the way you manage your wave and the way you have to react to him, right? So if he skills Q, that's very different from when he skills E.
I agree.
So baiting out, fishing for that information is also really useful.
Minions have spawned.
Oh.
Makes a lot of sense. You're way stronger. They're warded. Sure. So going behind the guy here, level 1, can also be really good, so just think about that. He has E. Nice. Nice spacing. Didn't let him get an auto.
I have no equal.
I need to start recording. Almost forgot.
Prepare to die. At once.
I like how you always fish for that flash Q auto. You always look for it. I respect it.
Oh.
That's okay. We can still look. We can even look to 1-for-1 dive him here. Oh,
That missed.
you were looking for it. I mean, you still can kill him though. Oh, he has flash now, so maybe you can't.
I don't think so. He has flash.
Yeah.
I don't think I have damage.
Well, you need to start running because Hecarim is coming then. I mean, it's either you go forward and die or you go backwards and die.
Yeah.
It's up to you. Okay, maybe. It's close, actually. Hecarim kind of. Pretty close. Right, nice try. That's okay, I don't mind.
I mean, I think I should just not flash in. Just scratch
Yeah. You crash the wave and then do it. I think would have been really good because you know it's gonna work, right? Right. Tipping top here still makes sense. No Hecarim Ghost. He's really low. I mean, you could do on this even, right?
I'm going alone.
Yeah, for sure. This guy wants to die. Send. Freeze that shit. Yoink. Alright. Freeze this wave every time. So one thing you can do if you're playing against... so right now you want to just blow up the wave. You want to ward this tier 3 bush, right? So you just kill 2 melees. Ward the third bush here, right here, that you're standing in. Ward that bush and you just recall in it. You just recall after you kill this melee. Because he's playing Ignite, he can't TP back, and this is going to let you spend all the gold you just got from the kill before you start fighting again. So you basically max value, so you could go no magic, an extra longsword, a cull, whatever you want, I don't care.
Yeah, all these goods, like...
But you maintain your freeze, and you keep equal combat strength, because the thing is, if you don't base and spend this gold, he might have like an Amtome more than you, he might have a Ruby Crystal more than you, basically just more combat strength, and you want to avoid that.
I mean, especially like...
Ping your team. Rumble is coming. Can be coming. Very good. Just be mindful, Sorry, you can talk. I just wanted to make sure that we don't give Rumble like a random kill or a double kill there. That would be really dangerous.
I mean, I agree with you. Like, especially on shore, like, this is a crit. This is AD ratio. Like, one longsword is a big deal.
Yeah, also, like, he has double Amtome, and if you had just stayed and kept freezing and just stayed there, yeah, you might get, like, every single little creep worth of XP, but in this case, even though you give up your freeze, you end up in a scenario where, you don't really want to freeze it anyway, So you create a slow push towards you, and instead of looking for freeze, hard freeze, you let the wave crash, and then you can just fight with your lane opponent because there's not such a big minion wave discrepancy after the freeze, you know? Just something to think about. You deny him more this way too, and like I said, you end up being equal in items, because if you had one long right now, and he has 2 amp tomes, maybe he beats you anyway because he has more juice. Something to think about. He still has flash, and his ignite is soon, so be mindful.
Yeah.
Not saying you can't dive him, but just wanted to be aware. I feel like if he uses W, you can like auto E him, or maybe even if he doesn't use W, you can like auto E him, Q away. I don't know. I'll let you figure it out. You're the Fiora player here. Well, Cassante is coming though.
Yeah,
It's good to go for plant here. Right now, going for plant here is really good.
Yeah.
The best option he has to go for, when you go for plant is to recall, and like I said, you can just match his recall.
I mean, I think he will like level up 6 and blow ultimate, and he will just base.
Oh, he needs next wave for 6. He needs to kill this wave, and then he'll be 6. If that, like he's quite far.
I don't have like pickaxe.
I don't even know if he hit 6 off this creep. I think it's either this one or the next one. He's really far behind NXP.
Oh, yeah. Next.
Same idea here, you said in the third bush. The reason why you recall in the third bush is because, and you can just match recalls again. Again, you can also fast push if you like, if you think your champ can do it. I just want you to have the option to pull the wave and base like this, match his strength, and come back and catch the wave.
Yeah, exactly. It's all I want to do.
Yeah, and in this case, you're denying him gold. You're creating a big slow push. So the only thing is you're losing pressure. So make sure he doesn't have a move into mid or can do something random as he's doing this, right? So he's going to be able to move here, guaranteed, right? So you're giving him a guaranteed move, but you're creating a big advantage for yourself in return for the fact that he's going to move here. So right now, this wave is when he's going to move. So this is the wave your team can't int because he's moving here if he wants to. If he slow pushes, he'll move on the next wave. 2 things: don't get tower dove, don't let him get kills on the move. Then it's good. You can also get tower dove, so be mindful, right? You can't do this if enemy mid has a lot of prio, you know, he's playing like Talon or something, Kiana. You need to be mindful in that case.
Of trading like this?
Trading is okay if you know that no one's on your side, but if you trade like this and someone is on your side, you're going to be a real sad panda. So just be mindful. Right, so now he's going to move because he's slow pushed, so be mindful. You have really good pink though, so you should be safe. You're denying him the plate. Nice. So he's definitely going to look mid here. And, you know, as you're CSing under tower, it's really good to check mid to see if he uses ult or something, right? Can be really good. If you see him use ult, that can make a big difference. Nice one.
And the moment where I just want to flash in, you know? It's like the killer instinct.
Yeah, go for it. You saw Hecarim mid, I mean, you could. I mean, maybe he's doing Herald right now, and it's not so smart. Well, I would say it's not very smart because Nico's doing golems, but I'm not against it if you want to look. I'm not against it. I don't think it's terrible. It's like a really random timing, you know what I mean? Like, I think a lot of people underestimate how, like, these random timings where you just suddenly all in. Not everyone's going to prepare for that, you know? Like, neither Rumble nor Hecarim mostly, you know? Hecarim's not looking at this top wave where you freezing. He's thinking, like, oh, I need to be ready for Fiora to all in my Rumble right now. No, you've been hitting creeps for fucking 45 seconds to a minute, you know? You've been ignoring this guy. Now the Waven is a position where he might be trying to proactively gank, so after these minions, really good to go ward. You know, put your pink down, get that control. Yep. So what I like to do here is actually, as my Nico is face checking the Grump, I like to start already collapsing, in case Hecarim got greedy. So something to think about too. Just stopwatch, he's calling a dive, I'll let you do what you...
Oh.
That's okay. Okay! Almost. Nice try. In this case, Nico wants to finish the dive here, so let's just make sure she can do that.
What the
No, this isn't working, is it? It actually fucking worked too. I swear this works every time. Like, a random fucking melee minion just walks up, and the guy just keeps CSing. Like, I don't know why it works, but it always works. This random ass fucking melee minion just waddles in, and the guy's just like, heard her, I'm just lost hitting my creeps. Too fucking funny. Careful, Hecarim ult.
Yeah, I'm gonna wait for his CC.
Well played. Really solid.
Should be close.
Okay, just be mindful Rumble is coming back. He's gonna be here in like 10 seconds, I would say. But you have a pretty good vibe, I think.
Yeah, we're cheating.
Some died? Oh no.
If I hit the parry, I would have killed him. But, happened.
I don't know why that's doing it. Okay, 1 second. I'm gonna restart this call. 1 moment. Be right back! Well, actually, tell you what. How about we just mute the sounds? That'll already help. Oh, well, I come back and you kill him again. That's nice.
Yeah.
Well played.
Little trick with the parry. They never respect.
Yup. I didn't see the trick, but...
Like when I do this, it always works. I don't know why.
Oh, the backwards W? I see. I mean, it's good tech. It's good tech. Oh, okay.
Okay. Time to get some fun now.
What's the build this game? I wonder.
Should be Mercs, but...
You think so? I think it's Tabi game. But if you want to go Zerkers, I'm a believer. Swiftness. Okay, I like it.
Yeah. Probably Trinity and Willbreaker 3, yes.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. The Swifties.
And before I was even playing tier. Like before they nerfed the AD ratio, and I was like the only guy playing tier.
I remember, yeah.
Like I will just like random one-shot people, and they will be like, wow, Fiora did that much damage?
I remember the Manamune Fiora. It became kind of popular at some point, I feel like. It was like not that rare at some point, but it was like a...
Translated to true damage is disgusting, by the way.
It's pretty damn good. It's good to check Raptors, you know, just make sure. And then here, you just usually want to just go straight back to top, right? So the idea of you going through here is exactly to drop these wards, get some information for yourself, make sure you can't get ganked, and then you come back to top. The plant is also good to take here, and there's no golems, so you can just take the plant, jump into his face. Alright, not too shabby. The only thing I will say, that ward placement you put on the top bush is the worst ward of all time.
Shit! I didn't even...
It gives you 0 vision. It's fine. It's just a small thing. It's a small thing. It can matter. Like right now, Rumble could be moving mid and we wouldn't know.
Oh my god, I didn't even notice.
It's okay. Taking over mid here is really good, so it's good to just, as you're crossing through mid, just take the wave.
I mean, at this point, I just commit.
Yeah, sure. It's also no minions. And they're really sad now when they see you press Q and just win. Okay, well, not so sad, I guess. Your Victor's happy, he got an extra kill. Nice. Diving the guy bot is also really good. I mean, I like it, you know. Can't dislike killing people on the enemy team.
I did that, he's not gonna CS now. For him.
Yeah. Just press S here, and just, he's really sad, you know. He knows he only has one choice, which is to run at Xayah. Alright, and that's just a kill. We fucked up. Never mind, good bait. A little bit awkward there, but it is what it is. We can stay here, we don't need to base. Only Cassandra and Millia can come bot and you can win that, right?
Yeah.
And also they're pressured to catch mid as well. And since we're opening top, basing right now and catching top, which feels pretty bad. Keep in mind, staying for this next wave, there are going to be... Like, basically, this wave is the last wave you can take before you need to PvP. If you know, think about it that way. I think that is the right way to think about it. The next wave, you're going to have to PvP to take it. You might have to. You're going to, you might. So here...
I will recall on 20.
Yeah, just be in mind. Okay. I mean, I like it. I didn't know you were Chinese.
If he wants to kill me, then try me.
Alright, I like it.
Okay, but that's cheating at this point. Okay, maybe...
If you stun him, maybe you're fine. Nice try.
I mean, he got the shutdown, not the worst. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I should.
No, I mean, you were 1v5 and killed 2 people, you know? Like, I consider that as an absolute win.
I should just parry the Q and run. Probably I'm safe here. Okay, let's not forfeit the build. Fuck it.
What is for fun? Manamian?
Yeah.
At this point still?
Nah, why not, you know?
Sure, I mean, I'm down to see it. Might as well.
I mean,
It's only one game.
I don't do it for the... I mean, the passive is good, so it's kinda great, but it's just like AD, you know?
No, I mean, I know it's a huge stat stick. I'm down to see it. Okay. I like that you help her. Makes sense. Well played. Hello there. Nice, really well played.
Never be cocky. The rule number 1.
You could have killed him for free, yeah. It's fine though. I like it. Not too shabby. So I like taking red here a lot. So I think here just taking red and so you can stay on the map is really nice.
Yeah, makes sense.
Red, golems first, and then you can also... The reason why doing red into golems is really nice here is there's a chance people make a mistake. There's a chance they don't have vision of you. If you show on the top wave immediately, then sometimes you avoid people from making a mistake, you know? Like Hecarim right now could maybe face check. I mean, you should probably back off. You could stay here, by the way. You don't have to base. So what you can do is go all the way back to the tier 3 bush. This bush is also fine.
Don't have any...
But you can look for a mistake, you know? Just look for someone inting.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
It's just that good. They had vision.
Oh, they had vision of you. I mean, Milio was just there, so it does make sense that they could potentially have vision, right? So think about it that way.
Let's build prowlers because why not? Oh, come
Probably. I have never seen that. Oh, they FF'd.
on.
Makes sense. I mean, to be fair, this game is over.
Yeah.
Nice, well played. Super well done. All right. Yeah, so he's a Challenger tier Fiora player playing in Master tier, so there is that. But still, there is some stuff that we can learn.
Only...
Just double checking. Do you have my screen open?
Yeah. But that...
You do not, because I need to rescreen share.
Oh yeah, I played so much and I got injuries, arm injury,
Mm-hmm.
and then I
Mm-hmm.
stopped playing. And why now I'm like trying to come back, you know?
Yeah, it makes sense. So I started recording here. Let me know when you can see the screen. It's a bit blurry, it'll fix itself.
Yeah, no worries.
But one thing to note is like you can come from Tribrush behind, like here. You can come behind people, level 1. Oftentimes, just walking like this, if they don't position well, you can actually zone them from level 1 for fun. So it's just something to think about.
Yeah.
It works on GP, it used to work on GP, it works on Fiora now. Just a small thing, you don't have to do it. Doesn't matter. Here, like I mentioned, a lot of the times when you have this big of a wave and you're this low, and this guy's this low, you know, if you hold your flash and you just try to 1-for-1 underneath this turret, that can be really good.
Yeah, the flash QW was a bit too much cooking.
I agree, a bit too. I mean, to be fair, if you hit it, it's not that much cooking. But if you miss it, it's big cooking. You know, then we're not cooking shit. You know, if you hit him with W here, if you take his flash, it's really good.
Yeah.
Because then, like I said, you'll just crash this wave and kill him, right? You'll make it really spicy, basically, which is good. But you TP back, you kill the Hecarim, because again, Nico's coming. Even if Nico's not coming, to be fair, you can just kill them both. And this is what a lot of people are scared of, is these situations, is like, they don't want to die here, but they still have to figure out what to do with the wave. What they need to do is just recall and leave the wave neutral and just deal with it as it is. Like I mentioned, so you do this twice this game, and I think it's really good in a matchup where champion strength is really important. Right? So when you're playing against Rumble, he's really strong all in. So you need to be as strong as you can be to match us all in, because if you can, then he can't lane, right?
Yeah.
The only way he beats you is by all-inning you like a psychopath. So the idea is, in this case, the idea is you freeze the wave. In this case, you drag up the wave. I'll show it for the people that didn't see it. But you drag up the wave. You basically kill all the melees, right? Or leave up. Like, basically, depends how greedy you are with dragging up the wave. But in this case, because we know he's recalling and he's 1 HP, we can be really greedy and drag it all the way here. But even if you drag it like here, you know, if you drag it up here, then you only need 3 creeps. The further you drag it up the lane, the fewer creeps you need to freeze. But basically, you kill, you know, you leave up. -2 or -3 creeps, so you leave up 2 to 3 creeps. Sorry, 3 to 4 creeps. And then you base either here or here. The reason, number one, you ward here is so you can't get lane ganked on the bounce. That's the first reason. Reason number two is as you're basing, if you have a ward deep, you could even ward here, by the way. It would still be really good. This ward is maybe even better.
Fair enough. So any ward is good, right?
Well, that's not the reason why these wards are good. Even if you had no wards, the reason why these wards are good are two reasons. One, lane gank. Two, if he cancels his base and tries to bamboozle you, you will see him really early. So warding here basically means that he has to wait all the way in Fog of War here, you know?
Yeah, this is not doable.
And then he will walk up and push the wave after you're recalling. So the amount of time it takes for him to do that, right, is actually too long. Whereas if you just base here and he's waiting around the corner here, let's say there's no let's say he's waiting around the corner, even the Striber's ward doesn't spot him, it takes him 2 seconds to walk up and push out the wave. But if he's all the way over here, this is plus 4 or 5 seconds that it takes to walk up to the wave and push it out. Because you're forcing and taking so much vision. So I told you to ward here because a lot of people don't do this, but realistically speaking, this would be the best ward. In fact, I would even like you to ward underneath his tower. I think that's even better. Because you're basically telling him, like, he in order to fix this wave state, he needs to fake recall and then push it out when you finish recalling. But it takes 8 seconds for you to recall. Because you're forcing him all the way underneath his tower by warding here, right? It would take him plus, 6 or 7 seconds to push out. And by that time, you're going to make it to catch most of the wave anyway. So that's the idea of taking all this space and warding deep. Because if you freeze the wave here and you don't check this bush, you don't check this area, right? You don't check here, then a lot of good players will actually sit and hide in Fog of War and then just come out and push out the wave as soon as you're done recalling. They'll just look at the timer and they'll just be like +9. Let's say, I see you going into the bush right now. I see you going into the bush. I see you right now. You're recalling right now. What's the time in game? 4:11. So right now, if I was playing Rumble and I was doing the Fog of War trick that I talked about, I would just say 4:20. I'm walking out on this wave and pushing. If she's still there, I honor her. That's what I would say, right? So just a small thing. In this case, it's not as applicable because Nico's there, but just 1v1, there's the thing. And then obviously the repercussion of what can happen when you do this. 1, Rumble after pushing this wave will have a move timing. 2, you can get tower dove on the big slow push, right?
Yeah.
So one or the other will happen. Either you will get dove or he will move. So you can't do this if you're scared of enemy mid. But if you can do it, you crash the wave. And also the third reason why this is really good in matchups like Fiora Rumble is whoever has the slow push will win, right? So if Rumble has a really big minion wave, slow pushing into Fiora can't queue into the whole minion wave and win, right? As long as, at least that's my understanding of the matchup. Right now, if you were to queue into his minion wave, he would beat you because there's too many creeps hitting you.
Yeah, I agree.
Renekton Irelia, same thing. Renekton Irelia, most Renekton matchups work the same way. It's like whoever has the slow push wins because Renekton can't stack his Fury that reliably because there's a big minion wave, so you can actually fight him a bunch. A lot of range matchups like Jayce Kennen, same thing. So what you do is you let the wave crash and you suffer a little bit, so you might take some poke, but then the wave will neutralize. So the wave will start going neutral again, and then you can start proactively fighting again. So you managed to deny him a bunch of CS, you managed to get all the CS yourself, and then like I mentioned, now the wave neutralizes, and we look to attack. So obviously in this case, really good habit to go around, get the ward, get the information before we start contesting. Fantastic stuff. We take a really hard trade because Rumble can't really lane if we chunk him really hard, so I like that. I like the patience too. Here, people are hovering, and we make them hover all the way. So here we make him hover all the way and just back off. So, not bad. You make Cassante hover. We respect his move, and then also at the same time, we go into the river and take the plant. So like I mentioned, the only counter he has to you taking the plant is just recalling, right? And that's the worst case scenario, and that's the best he can do. But if he doesn't, you freeze and he's fucked. And it's really easy for him to mess up. Same thing, like I mentioned, same situation. You basically crash the wave, you force a crash, and you're chilling. Here, if you actually did the riposte backwards, like you mentioned, you would have killed him.
Yeah, but
either way, we chunk into 1 HP.
Demand, so I only go for plays that I know I can only win, And still
yeah, I mean, it was still really good. Like, I really like the combo you did there. It was really, really nice, actually.
It was the...
You put him to 1 HP, and then the classic.
It was the 4 vital combo. If I had Q, I had to try it.
No, I liked it. It was really nice. And then, a random minion that doesn't even walk the way minions walk shows up, and this guy's just like, lol.
It looks so funny, but come on, Rumble.
I would be running for my life right now. Oh shit, it's Nico.
No, wait. It's just the minion bug. The minion was just in front of my top.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but sure. And again, really nice combo, solid stuff. I know. But still, funny stuff. I had to restart here, and then I came back and you killed him again, so, well, here we are. I see, so you just queued backwards and just one-shot him. Nice. I mean, sure. Why not? He can't play the game. We take his top tower. Really good. Open out top side again. This makes sense because you don't want to give farm before you roam. Hover into mid after top wave. Get your own vision. Also, in case there's a fight mid, you can also go mid. Or let's say, for example, hovering here is really good because let's say Victor's realizes there's a bot fight and he starts hovering bot. You can also take over mid and then take the plates mid.
Yeah. Okay.
For an example, as example. Alternatively, right, you can also go here. Check the red buff. If he's on it, you can fight him. You can get a ward here, a ward here. And also you're checking the camp. So whilst you're doing this, like this case you did this, you can also attack the enemy raptors, for example, and take them if your champ's good at them.
Okay.
And then in this case, we realize we can make a full move into a play. Obviously, just for clarity, the best ward to put here is actually up here. This is the best ward you can place. This is the ward you want to place. Because it spots this entrance, it spots this entrance, and it spots this. So even though it looks like usually you want to put the ward as deep as possible, like in this side of the bush, this is the one bush in the game where you actually want to put it towards you.
Okay.
Because it spots the most. It still spots this entrance and this entrance, right? So basically, you mark this entrance, you mark this entrance, you mark this entrance too. So basically, you mark all 4 entrances of this ward, which is why this ward is the best.
I see that now.
It's just a small thing, but it can give you more info. And here, like I said, right, as I was talking to you, I just wanted to mention, this is the last wave you can do before you need to PvP. So if you want to greed and get your item, which is, it's possible, you do have a lot of lifesteal, there's 2 options. One is to go golems and just play it safe. 2, attack Gromp and then PvP at the Gromp, because you know that there's going to be people contesting you in this area. Because you know that they're back alive. This is the last wave before enemy team is going to be back on the map. If you contest Gromp, Hecarim will probably be coming to contest. He could also be contesting topside, but think about it from the enemy team's perspective. They just got fucked on the map. They're going to trade sides, and Herald is up, which means, naturally, good players will go into bottom side right now. So what the best players will do is actually go to Raptors and then bottom side, because they know that they're going to give up top side because Herald is gone and this is where we want to go, because we're ahead, right? Which means that you actually can make the play to go into Gromp. Now, depending on how you use the information here, because this is kind of where you make it really obvious that you're doing this, and this is what I talked about with using Fog of War to your advantage. So you notice how you're moving your character towards here?
Yeah.
As you're killing the creep. As the Fog of War disappears, they assume that you're doing this. Whereas if you did this, but your character is going down, so you're killing this Clanning creep and move your character down, they're going to assume that you're leaving.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? It's a small difference, but it can really help you. It can really help you create situations where people that are attentive will see this. They will see that you're doing this, right? And you do this when you want a base, right? If you want a base, you do this because you make them believe that you're going to greed. So Hecarim might come to his Gromp instead of his Raptors to come and check to see if you're inting, right? Whether you are or not is a different story. But he will see that he'll be like, oh, damn, this guy might be inting. And then he'll realize, oh, fuck, he wasn't, he baited me, and then he loses his Raptors because he doesn't make it there before we retake topside. So, just a small thing. The other thing here is you wanted to base, right? Because you want to defend top. That's the first instinct you had, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, kinda. And then I realized that Paul was dead, one guy top, so I decided to...
No, exactly. Very good. Basically, you look at top tower, it's like, the idea is on this wave that you have bot here, right? Because you have this fresh wave bot. Is he going to kill top tower on this fresh wave top, yes or no? If the answer is yes, going top is meaningless because you're not going to make it before you get there. He'll likely get the tower in base before you even get there. So you basing going to top is not bad because you can push out top deep. However, in this case, Victor can do it instead, right? After mid wave, he can base, walk out top, Xayah will respawn and walk out mid. So there's no need for you to do that.
Okay, I see.
And then you make a really, really nice play. You just say, fuck it. This guy was trying to play League. We don't have none of that. Flash on his head. Nice. Maybe we can live here, but whatever. I'm done. Like, there, you already did your job, you know what I mean? You already did your job. You killed 2 people on weak side. It's good enough. Push out the wave. It's good that you're checking as you're pushing. Really good. And then here, I also agree. You should help your team first here. Kill this guy, and then we reassess from there, you know? Like, if we want to kill more people, we'll kill more people. If not, we don't. Again, next time you'll kill that guy. here. So one thing I wanted to say is this is actually really likely that there's wards here because you just fought Milio and obviously he's probably going to ward here. So if I'm going to guess right now, he's a ward here, he's a ward here, and there's probably a ward over the red buff wall too. But I don't know about the red buff wall. I don't know if there's going to, if he put this ward, but the point is enemy team just walked in like this and did this, right? He walked in here, went to the tri-brush and fought over here, right?
I see.
They just fought here and then ran away. Which means if Milio's any human, he's leaving wards behind so that when people come and check, they have vision of that, right? So if people chase them, they can see it coming. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does make a lot.
So this might not be warded. I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be warded. Might not, but this is almost always going to be warded. And this is almost always going to be warded. So keep that in mind when you're doing this. So what I recommended is like you do golems here, and then you do this and go and wait in lane in a more like neutral game, you know, where you can actually die if you're 2v1. What you can do is just do this and then act either that you're leaving or that you're basing or anything, right? Just keep in mind, don't just base here. Having the habit of basing here is really bad. Often there's going to be wards here. So what you can do is even, like, you see this fog of war? Well, let me see if I can actually show you better, because you're going to walk there soon. So, a little neat trick if you're split pushing, let me just get it without scoreboard. The neat trick is, like right now you do golems, and then you just leave this way, and then you base right here. Let's look at it this way, right? If you're coming into this bush as a jungler, right, or as a top laner, and you face check the bush, you have about this vision, you know?
Oh yeah, so if I go on the edge, then he doesn't.
So if you go on the edge here, he turns the corner, he will face check you. Now, obviously, if the guy walks in like this and he steps on this side of the bush, he might see you because his field of vision gets bigger, right?
Mm-hmm.
But usually the idea is you sit like somewhere here, and the idea is if he doesn't do his pathing as well and he does something like this, you will obviously meet him here and one-shot him, or like try to one-shot him, you know? There's something to think about. If you think there's a ward here, you can just do this instead. Now, if the wave is coming and it checks you, it doesn't work, so what do you do instead? You go like this to the top bush and you wait in the top in the third bush.
Yeah, makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Something to think about.
I didn't even... I mean, yeah, it was good acting from them.
Yeah, it was good acting, that's true. Mm-hmm. And it was well played. Nice. Boom, boom, boom. Nice. Solid stuff. Alright. Well, honestly, today you kind of smurfed on noobs, you know? Not much to add. You play every fight mechanically really well, then there's not much more to add. Wave management was really good, so that's really important.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I like the way you played today, you know? It's really good stuff. I feel like if you keep this up, you will for sure be back to Challenger soon playing Fiora.
Yeah, I mean, I knew that anyways. I wasn't like taking this session for like mechanical stuff, but like most to have in mind all the unconscious decision I because
makes sense, yeah.
I would like to be back to somewhat humanilo. I think humanilo.
You will be soon. I mean, again, if you play like this, you will be for sure hitting Challenger ASAP. I mean, you're literally shitting on the enemy team, making fun of them. So again, before we call it a day, I want to remind you of a few things, right? So a few things that I'd like to add so that you can be a bit more consistent when you play the game is think about your 1 to 4 waves. Why is 1 to 4? Because enemy jungle will attack you in wave 2, 3, or 4, right? So either he will level 2 gank you, he will do 3 camp top, or he will do a full clear into top, right? So this is if they path towards you. Like usually I'd say these are the 4 waves that matter the most, right? So if you haven't seen enemy jungle, he will attack you on one of these 4 waves if you don't respect him.
Mm-hmm.
Which one? I don't know. But usually you use your ward to cover for 2 out of 3, right? So you can ward after wave 2 or during wave 1 and 2 to cover for the, like after wave 2 basically, when wave 2 gets there, you can ward, right? So that you cover for waves 3 and 4. Or you ward level 1 and you cover for 2 and 3. But usually you can't ward for all 3 because the idea is if you ward on wave 2, then he can already be in the bush and ganking you. So that's kind of the idea, you know what I mean? So let's say he does top and like he does red into top, then let's say you go ward during wave 1 because you want to ward for wave 2. Well, he could already be in the bush and ganking you, which is why I say you can only ward for 2 out of 3. Now, technically, you could argue that warding and face checking him is warding for him, but you know, semantics. So just make sure you keep in mind which wave you want to be pressuring on and which wave you want to be playing safe on. So that means like wave 1 and 2, you can play really aggressive because you know you're going to base on wave 3 or you know you're going to base on wave 4. Then maybe slow it down on wave 3 and slow it down on wave 4 because you need to prepare for a gank. Okay? So just in your mind, decide which wave you're going to fight on. want to fight a lot of wave 1 and 2, that increases the chance that you're getting ganked on wave 3 and 4. Make sense?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
It's really important that you think about this and determine that in your game for yourself. And obviously, if you can mix it up, that's better because, well, you know, the more variables you can play, the better. But keep that in mind. Next up, keep going through mid. I really like that you're doing it. And, you know, stay open-minded. You can do this, but I really like that you're participating in the game. Pretty much every game you ended up being mid and you were either fighting for some space or contesting something, or, you know, you killed people. So either way, it was really good. One thing I will say is try to farm a little bit more if you can. So really make a difference in your own mind when it's like, ooh, my team is winning and the map is really dark. So let me open up the vault, right? In the Fiora game you were playing, it happened in the Jayce game too, but in the Fiora game you were playing here, like when the map is really dark, sometimes just doing jungle camps and waiting is the right play, right? So the first time this happened was right here. Sorry, I went a bit too far. Right here, right? Remember? You open out on the map, it's really dark. This guy is not like, this guy is going to base, not on the map. This guy is never going to help you, and this guy wants to base too, right? So attacking this camp and this camp, going to be the best you can do. Basically, as you go top, right? The reason the issue is if you go top here, they take portal and kill you, and if you go mid, you don't have enough members to fight. So when you open out through mid, right? So in this case, let's say you did this, you start golems, you realize, fuck, I need to go mid, which is what you do basically, right? You're just like, oh shit, I didn't go through mid. You start going through mid, which is good. I like that you're doing this. However, you doing this doesn't work because Maokai is too far, Bard is here, and even if Maokai and Bard are here, how many people can be here?
Yeah, even.
Exactly. So if you like those odds,
no, I don't.
You can take it, but think about it. You know, I've taken fights like this and said, yes, let's fight, right? Like, there's nothing wrong with saying I like a 3v4 right now. I'm that strong. There's nothing wrong with that. You know, it's just you need to be aware that you're taking a 3v4. And as long as you're aware, that's good enough. Obviously, the argument is if you just wait 2 minutes or like wait a minute, then you will get a 5v5 or an equal number fight or even better, an outnumbered fight. But something to think about, right? And I like that you're doing this. So I like that you're doing this, but what you're doing is playing on the edge.
Yeah.
If anything goes wrong, you die for free.
Yeah, I agree.
So keep that in mind. You are playing on the edge. I'm not against you playing on the edge. I'm against you inting. So that's where you have to take responsibility, especially if you're going to work with your coach and tell him, like, look, I'm playing on the edge, but I trust myself to outplay the situation if they really force. Because, like, so I'll put it this way, right? I'll show you, right? I'll pause the frame when I would kill you if I'm Shen if I have flash, right? I'll pause. This is where I flash on you, right? If I have flash, I'm taunt flashing you right now.
Yeah.
And maybe you get queued by Brandon to a stun into a W and you die. Maybe you live, maybe you don't. The point is what I'm saying is, like, I'm looking for this. You know, if I'm the Shen player right now, I am looking really aggressively for this. Because I have the numbers behind me, and this is my best chance to kill the no-flash Fiora. Again, maybe you have enough tenacity, or you W, or like whatever, like you outplay it. And if you do, I look like an idiot, great. But if you die here, you look like an idiot, and we're avoiding to look like idiots, because that's not nice. So, just think about it. This is what I'm fishing for. Get into the mindset of the enemy team. Right now, they need to kill you, right? They really, really need to kill you, because you're going to keep pushing and pushing and pushing where it hurts the most, which is Shen, right? Shen is their weakest member. This is where it hurts.
Yeah.
Next up, you're playing a carry champ. You notice, this game, for example, you can 2v1 to 1v3, blah, blah, blah. Like, you can literally just stand in their face and outplay them, right? Maybe next game you're playing, it's not Kalista.
Yeah.
You know, this like kind of bullshit that you can't outplay. Maybe the top laner is like something like Jax, you know, so it's really hard to outplay him. And basically, if you're 1v3, maybe you just die, right? So, what do? In case you're in a trade side situation, you're on the weak side, is you just cross. You literally either base and cross, or you just walk bot and you start laning with your homie. You kill the guy that's trying to defend, and you take over the lane, like I said, right? So in this case, you're bad resource, not bad, but you're like not great condition. So what do? You base, you buy your stupid item, a Kindle gem, can be a pink, I don't care, whatever you spend your money on. And then take the portal and move, or walk and move, and you just take over the lane. Again, same logic as before. Maybe Tryndamere is 60% health right now, and then suddenly a Fiora shows up, and now he's 60% VS, like, maybe he's even winning lane, right? Let's say Tryndamere is winning, he's 60 versus 50, and suddenly you take over. You know, have you played like a fighting game where you can swap characters during the fight? I don't know, maybe you haven't, but this is like a Dragon Ball game. Anyway, doesn't matter.
Oh.
But suddenly you play against 100% HP. Right, this guy went from laning and winning lane to suddenly, what the fuck, I'm laning as Fiora, full HP. Maybe, you know, no R, you know, neither has R, you know, and then suddenly you lane against someone with more HP with R, and it's like, what the fuck? What just happened?
Yeah, makes sense.
Very good. Let's focus on that. So, to summarize it for you, first thing, waves 2, 3, 4. Really make sure you have a game plan here, because this is what's going to like set the standard for your lanes. 2. How do I write this down? I'll just write down pixel still. Just make sure you keep doing this. This is what's really carrying games for you. This is where you're finding a lot of kills and influence in the game. And the big thing is you're having way more influence than enemy top laner in these games. Obviously, your team is winning, so it's easier to see. But even when your team is losing, this is when you're going to do the most of your work. How do I put this? Keep farming, Make sure that you're in a place where you gain gold.
I know what you mean. Like, especially like on Fiora, I feel like sometimes I move, I kill and I don't farm. I just recall and like, maybe because like this is low elo, I get like 16 kills. But if I don't get 16 kills, then I don't have a lot of CS.
Yeah. And it's because what you're doing is great, which is moving the pixel, but it's like, so you move, and then when you move back, just, grab Grump on the way, then grab the wave, then grab the next wave, then grab enemy golems, like really take turns to farm.
Okay.
Because it's good that you're moving, but also take turns to farm. Take your time, like, especially when you have TP up, right? When you have TP up, you can really start greeting and really, like, basically determine, based on your items, whether you're attacking tier 2, whether you're farming, right? Whether you're farming minions and camps and whatever you can, or you're fighting for a neutral objective, right? So I think these are the 3 modes you kind of have in competitive, in any game, right? Is the mode of like, I'm in farming mode, I'm in farming mode, I'm in farming mode, I'm in contesting mode, and I'm in teamfight mode, Or split push mode, I should say. It's probably better. So either you're contesting for me is like contesting vision, contesting neutral, or you're split pushing, which is you want to kill this, or the third option, you can't do any of these, you're AFK farm. You just farm this, go farm this if you can. You come off base with the intent of farming, and you only react to what the enemy team is doing. You're not forcing things. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Just make sure that you're aware when you come out of base what you want to do. Like as you're coming out of base, this is what you do when you want to farm, and there's nothing wrong with that. If you're like, okay, I need 1k gold until my Hullbreaker, and then I win the game, then maybe instead of going mid and taking a fight that might lose you the game, you're better off going bot. Especially when you're the guy that's trying to carry the game and your team is far behind. This matters. Like, this never matters when your team is ahead. When you're 1k gold off your item, it doesn't matter because your team is going to win the fight anyway. All you need to do is be there. But if your team isn't going to win, even if you're there necessarily, and you need to carry the game, you can tell your team, fuck this space, don't die here, don't die here, don't die here. Enter the weak side, take a neutral wave because you're really strong, right? And then base after you take this wave, and then cross into the opposite side and start pressuring on the side your teammates are on. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Try to use that to your advantage. If you can get a really deep push, because in this case, you got a really deep push right top. Try to use it to your advantage that you can either base and then go bot, or walk through mid, take the space here like you did, and then go into tower dive the guy. Both are really good options, but this is a really good way for a split pusher to progress the game when you're playing with another split pusher. So in this case, you have Jack's ball and you here, right? So either him coming to you and attacking this, or you coming to him and attacking this, right? How you get there, I'll let you decide. But this is a really good way to pressure the map, and it can get really, really hard to deal with when you do this. All right?
All right.
And then, I don't know. I'd say number 4, like, keep playing Fiora. You're really good at her. You should not give up on the champion. It's good to open up your horizon, but keep that up. I think your Fiora is really good. You can for sure hit Challenger if you play Fiora.
Yeah.
And your Jayce is really good too, actually, so I think if you play Fiora and Jayce, keep a small champion pool. Play Fiora Jayce, I'm sure you'll hit Challenger. I didn't see you play Jax, but I can say right now that if you don't hit Challenger in like 2 weeks, if you play a lot, I'd be seriously surprised. I'd be really surprised if you don't hit Challenger in like the next 2 weeks if you keep playing at this level.
Okay. And I will just I just need to figure it out. Not play too much games, because my biggest problem in solo queue was I always felt like I had to play a lot, and this is literally how I got injured. I was playing 20 games a day.
Yeah, it's too much. Well, I would say, like I said, right? So I'd say 3 to 4 games per session. And then take a 2-hour break if you can. 2 or 1, I would say minimum 1 hour. And then 1 to 3 hour break is where I would aim at. Just for example, people might say that's very little, but look at it this way. Competitive teams that are being paid to play money scrim 3 games and then take a 2 to 3 hour break at MSI and then play 3 scrim games again and then take a 2 to 3 hour break again and then scrim three games again, right? This is what a competitive team has established is the most optimal way to practice scrims. So why would it be any different for playing solo queue? The answer is it's not. It is optimal. It's just the culture doesn't allow that because basically people use solo queue as mechanical practice. So what they do is after this, intense schedule, they just play a bunch of hours. But that's the schedule that, LPL, LCK run. Like LPL, LCK, they actually scrim 9 games a day. They scrim 9 games a day. Right now at MSI, in the past actually, for example, DRX would scrim. They had this scrim block where they did something insane, like play 16, I think 16 or 12 games a day or some bullshit. I think they had 4 scrim blocks a day where it was like 10 a.m. to, like, it was like 10 a.m. to 1 p.m., then 1 p.m. to 4 p.m., then it was, I think, 7 p.m. to 10, and then they would do one extra scrim block at the very end of the end of the day, and they would 11 to 2, I think. Like, this was the insane scrim block. But my point is, if you remove this is a normal scrim block,
Yeah.
Like 10 to 4, 10 to 1, 1 to 4. You could do the same thing, and then solo queue takes less time as well, right? So instead of that, you could do, like, for example, I don't know what time you usually wake up, but if you want to do like 11 to 2, take 3 hours here, play 4 games, then later in the day, it's like 5 p.m. You play 5 to like 7:30, and then you take a 2.5 hour break, and then you start again at 10 p.m. and you play 10 to 10 to 12, and then you're ready, you chill for the next, I don't know, 2 to 3 hours, do whatever the fuck you want, wake up back at 11 and start again.
I like it.
Again, I don't really think it matters too much what schedule you have, but what does matter is that you play 3 to 4 games per session. And then the thing that people don't get is when you win in League, right? So let's say I have a 3-win streak. Very often in this 3-win streak, if I'm really try-harding, there'll be shit that triggers me, like, not necessarily like really hard as I'm really mad, but for example, it's like I'm trying really hard to win and I'm making a really aggressive call, like, I really want to dive this guy, it's a free kill, and my jungler's like, nah, fuck you. And it's like, that's frustrating because in the moment you're thinking, oh man, like, if we had killed him, I would have such a much easier time to win this game, you know what I mean? I'm sure you felt that way, right? It's like, man, if we just killed this guy, I'd be in a much better position this game. And
like,
if you can ignore that in the back of your mind, that's great, but you can't always. And the more tired you get, the harder it is, and you start tilting. Because in every game you win in League, people disagree with you in solo queue and how to play the game, which is also the beauty of it, right? Everyone plays their own style, everyone does their own thing. But I believe that, usually around the 4 game mark is when it starts getting a bit worse. It starts getting noticeable. And if you have a really bad game on 5, 6, here it's still fine. But once you start getting to 7, 8, 9 games a day, in my opinion, most people will start mentally struggling. Not struggling in the sense that you get toxic, but struggling that, like, you will not tolerate things as much, right? Like, your jungler coming top and dying, maybe you lose your shit. You know what I mean?
Exactly know what you mean.
Whereas right now, when you play these games, you don't give a shit, you're being chilling. So, pretty good stuff. What LP are you at right now?
600, 650, something like this.
Okay. Is that the account you played on?
Yeah.
Nice. You're a smurf. 600 something LP and you're absolutely 1v9ing. Enemy can't breathe. Pretty good, no?
But I want to try to get top 10. So
well,
I can...
like I said, I think if you manage to keep your champion pool to Fiora Jayce for now, I definitely think you can. So my recommendation is, this is what LS told me actually. So when I got coaching from him, this is the number one thing I derived from his coaching, is he told me this, okay? I'm going to write it down for you. I'm just going to message you it. He wrote me this. Where can I write? Yeah, here, I'll just use Notepad. He said this, okay? This is the strategy. So 1, blind pick of choice. So usually you want to pick a good champion. Oh wait, there's ads? Okay, I'll wait. Okay, I didn't realize they auto-played. I'll just write it out. Blind pick of choice. Pick when blind is spammed. Pick when blind is picked first. Make sense? So,
okay, yeah.
To give you the thing. Fiora, Jayce. Into Fiora. Oh no, Jayce, on his fan. And, I don't know, maybe you like Cannon against Fiora.
Okay, I see.
This can also still be Jayce. It's even better if it's the same one.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But I'm just giving you a third option in case you like a third option. It could be Jacks, you know, whatever you want. It's up to you. Can it? You just want to limit it to one, okay? One more ad. So yeah, this is the idea. You know, this could be Kennen. Just pick it and then get really good at that matchup. This is how I got rank 1, okay? So what I would do is I would blind Jayce. I would pick Rumble when Jayce was banned, and then if someone picked Jayce blind, I would pick Poppy into Jayce.
Makes sense. Okay.
All right. Thank you very much for trusting me to help you. Let me know how you do, and if there's any questions, like usual, feel free to ask me.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I'm gonna work on that, and yeah, let's see in 2-3 weeks. I mean, you know, I trust the process. You know, like my Jayce win rate was like 35, and then it suddenly like went like 60.
Nice.
Went like
really good. Like from 35 to 60 or what? Or did you try on a new account?
No, legit same elo.
Oh.
Yeah, but same elo. Like
nice.
Account.
Yeah, nice. That's awesome.
35 to almost 50. So like that's still insane, you know. But like it went from a state when I was like, okay, I'm inting on Jayce. Like I know how to do the mechanics, but I'm inting from like I can like blind pick it in any matchup against Malphite and be fine in the slash.
That's awesome. Thing. Also, a good tip is to ban, you know, plus ban whatever you hate, you know, ban what you lose to.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know, if you're like, you know, this could be Jax, you know, like
I don't like Evelyn.
Whatever.
I'm a band.
Evelyn? Yeah, sure. Like this is what you want to do, but like maybe there's a lane counter that you really struggle with, so you ban that. But the idea is, someone asked in chat, what do you do if you get countered? You get good, literally. You play Fiora so much that even if they counterpick you, you win that matchup because you get really good at it. So that's the idea. You can avoid getting counterpicked in solo queue sometimes, but basically the idea is that you get so good at blinding Fiora that you just win, and then when people start banning Fiora because they notice you're in the lobby, you get really good at pick number 2, which could be Jayce.
Yeah, okay.
Alright, awesome. Thank you very much.
Triple solo queue block. Let's see where it goes.
Well, again, if double works better for you, also, you know, don't be afraid. Elo will go up really fast. The one thing that people don't get is if you play 3 or 4 games a day and you win 75% of them, you're going up by 70 to 80 LP a day, depending on how good your MMR is, and that's pretty fast. You know, it'll take you literally 2 weeks to get rank 1 from now. If you go up consistently 70 to 80 LP a day, you will be rank 1 in literally 2 weeks, which is not much at all. Now, obviously, if to get rank 1, you will need to grind a lot more games, but in order to get the challenger, at least a small amount of games is good. But I would say 2 blocks is great for climbing, 3 blocks is great for like really grinding. So up to you, whatever works for you. Thank you very much for joining me. I appreciate it. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and let me know how you do, okay?
Never stop the grind.
Yeah, pretty much. Take care, man.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Alright. Thank you very much for watching, guys. I appreciate it. I'm probably gonna call it a day now. Challenger's 1k LP? Oh yeah, it's pretty high. What if Fiora's banned and they pick Jayce? I mean, literally the answer is dodge. But in this case, this is it, right? So you're saying, what if Fiora's banned, they blind Jayce, then you just dodge. That's the idea. We missed the LS part. This is the LS part. This is what LS told me to do, and this is what I did to hit rank 1. This is an example, okay? For me, it was this. I blind pick Jayce. I pick Rumble when Jayce is banned. When the enemy team locked in Jayce, I would play Poppy. I don't like to talk business on my stream, so don't ask. I don't take offense, you can ask. I'm just not going to answer. This is what LS told me, this is what I did. So if you go to Season 7, if you could, I don't know, is there a way to like snapshot ladder? Like, I didn't end rank 1, but I hit rank 1 doing this. I'd have to dig really deep to find a screenshot of it, but I know there's one on my Twitter, so. Why is Poppy good into Jayce? Basically, he can't have hammer stance in if you are good at Poppy, because her W blocks it. So the idea is that if you are reasonably good at dodging Shock Blast, you can whittle him down by just hitting him with your little buckler, you know, you hit him with your passive. Nothing you can do about it. He Qs in, you W, Q him in the head, and you just smash him. You wouldn't take matchups? Nope. You one-trick a champion. You get so good at this Jayce champion that you win every matchup. Even if you feel like, oh, I could pick something that's better than Jayce, nope. Play Jayce. Because you're going to get so good at Jayce at some point if you keep up this thing. This is talking about 100, 200, 300 games, okay? This is not talking about, you know, short term. This is talking long term. Lethal Tempo Camille, I don't think that's particularly good, but yeah, some people do crazy stuff. Hope you're having a good morning. It's alright. Anyway, that's gonna be it for me. I'm gonna go like take care of like eating something, chilling a bit. That's how it is. It's 5:30 a.m. Yes, I woke up at 2 a.m. to do coaching. So I'm gonna send you guys over to Broxa. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Take care. I appreciate you guys watching. Have a good one.